What's going on, everybody? Welcome to LTMB headquarters. This is Let the Madness Begin, LTMB Live. I'm Will Gaillard.
And I'm Mike White.
Your regular host every evening, Tuesdays and Thursdays. What's up, everybody? Hope everybody's doing well tonight. We got a lot to talk about. We're just going to make sure the stream is working fine. We got Facebook here. What's up, Facebook? YouTube. Like I said, we're just going to make sure the audio sounds good. The video's working all right. And then we're going to get to it. So in just about a minute, we will begin. So how is everybody doing out there? What's up with you, Mike? You good? You good, man?
Man, I'm good, man. Still didn't see Black Panther yet, though. But I did. I ended up talking to, I guess, a manager at one of the movie theaters about it, and she said it's been like, this movie has the movie theaters crazy.
Yeah, man.
Like as far as busyness, like she said, like Benedict College is got a predominantly black college downtown where we live at. They rented out like a whole theater.
Dang, for everybody. Like,
yeah, I don't know what organization did it, but it was like a 200-seat theater. They rented out the whole thing. So there's things that they just don't normally see that are going on because of this movie.
It's a lot of excitement, man. A lot of excitement. Man, today, man, I've seen just from the jump, man, from this morning and on, just stupidness at every turn, man. There's just a whole bunch of stupidity out there. More than regular.
But it's not. It's not just stupidity. I think it's I guess willful stupidity.
Yeah, it's willful absurdity. It's comments. It's stuff that you've seen. It's everything combined, man. It's just overwhelming. I think humans will do that when we want to distract ourselves from not getting things done, or distract ourselves from like I guess from actual solutions. So we'll like make stupid arguments and I guess maintain irrational attitudes and belief systems, and it doesn't just come from the public. It comes from you know what I'm saying? Everywhere, man.
It comes from everywhere. It comes from our leadership.
True. We see we got some people filling in. Moose Gal says she has some breaking news from Illinois. We're gonna wait till the end of the show for that, because we got a lot of different things to talk about. There's just a lot of different things.
So it won't get buried.
Exactly.
Probably wait till
we don't want to talk about it for like 20 seconds and then have to cut it off.
Yeah. So probably wait till about 8:30 to bring it up, so it won't get buried, because you know how this chat section fills up.
What's up, Emmy on Facebook? Thanks for sharing. Thanks for being here. All right, so we're going to get started, okay? So, of course, we have more to talk about with this whole gun situation in the country, stemming from the latest mass shooting in Parkland, Florida, at the high school, Stoneman Douglas High School. This conversation, like I said, it persists. Before we talk, yesterday, Trump had a meeting with some legislators, but before we get to that, I just wanted to just hit on one report from yesterday, and that was a teacher in Georgia at a Georgia high school called Dalton High School, and this teacher is a social studies teacher named Jesse Randall Davidson. Apparently he was in his planning period in whatever period it was, but it was his planning period. He wasn't letting students in his classroom. The classrooms, I believe, then alerted the principal. The principal came, tried to make his way into the classroom. At that point, the teacher, Davidson, was blocking his entry. I guess he barricaded himself in there. And then at some point after that, took out his gun that he brought to school and fired at least one shot out of a window. Now it's been reported that they don't believe that he fired at anybody, just through the window. So nobody was reported to be hurt except for one teenage girl that I think she twisted her ankle because
they were running. They were evacuating real fast.
Right. But about 30 to 45 minutes after this had happened, he agreed to come out, peacefully. He surrendered himself. Yeah, that's what happened. So it's relevant because, of course, it's an incident at a school with a gun. But for another reason, it's relevant is because we've heard a lot of these suggestions about teachers being armed at school. Mm-hmm. And so we see...
It's coming on the heels of this conversation being very prevalent. Yeah, very highly covered.
You said on the heels, man. It's like right there.
Yeah, like right on the heels of
exactly.
it. It's kind of, I don't mean to sound fucked up, but it kind of did happen at the right time. A lot of people will, I guess, automatically conclude that there's something behind it.
Oh yeah, like there's some sinister plot, like the liberals put them up to it or something like that.
Right, put them up to it to start a conversation. But like me, you talked about this, and like essentially this only affects public perception anyway. It only affects public perception. It wouldn't affect, how anyone of importance, anyone in power goes through with some sort of legislation.
Right.
We already know that they don't, involve themselves with public perception.
They're not swayed by what we want.
They're not swayed anyway. They're not involved with that. I mean,
so this wouldn't matter.
There's too many countless examples to list off.
Exactly.
To prove that point. So I just don't think it's there. There's nothing there to show that somehow he was put up to it. Mm-hmm. But to me, teachers are normal people.
Exactly. That's where you have to go.
They're normal human beings.
They have problems just like everybody else, right?
They suffer from
depression,
normal human
anxiety,
problems. They're distressed.
Whatever.
And actually, I think they're probably they go through stress just like most human beings do, just like most of us, and actually they probably go through more, way more than most
a lot of responsibilities us. Yeah,
and actually I think they go through way more stress than cops. That's just my position. They have to deal with hundreds of kids every day. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Like you said, them. Exactly. Like you said, they are humans, so they're going to fall victim to human pitfalls.
They have bad days. They have bad days,
good days. So when you put a gun inside, or if you put a gun inside one of these humans' hands, and these are not humans that are trained to protect people. These are not humans that have on-the-job training, like they're training to be a police officer or some military personnel. This is not their job. So you're gonna give them a gun and then task them with protecting people, stopping the bad guy. It's just a bad idea.
Like, I'm gonna be devil's advocate because I've already heard people's responses to this because they're trying to avoid the inevitable conversation. And they say, well, we're not talking about arming every teacher. Yeah. And I was like,
10 to 20%.
This is 10 to 20%, or just the ones that are adept.
Yeah, gun adept.
And so it's like, so this is a bad example. I was like, he may be one of the people that don't get a gun. And so I would ask anybody, I said, but why though? Exactly. But why? He wouldn't get a gun because they would examine his mental capability. And if they would do that, because obviously that's what they would do. If they're going to go forth with arming some teachers, obviously it's not going to be all teachers. We already know this. But even if it is some, what process are they going to go through to, I guess, how
are you gonna figure out if they're gun adept?
Exactly, they're going to go through some sort of process, not just gun training, not just some sort of like testing that would, I guess, show how well they can handle. Like you have to test target. They would have
mental capability as well.
So guess what? If they're doing that, they would have to do that actually. Yeah, and if they would have to do that for teachers, why wouldn't they do that for everyone else that is going to be handling a gun in this country?
Stop it, Mike. Sounded too sensible over there, man.
We already said they do it for cops,
yeah,
right?
You make a good point, man.
So in order to become a cop, they have to determine whether you're proficient, not just physically, but mentally. Even though I don't think it goes far enough, because we see what things happen on the beat all the time. So if they do that for cops, and most likely if this whole arming teachers things goes forth, they would have to do that for teachers too. So why not do it for
everybody? Good question. All right, so let's move on to the meeting yesterday that President Trump had with the legislators. There were maybe, 10, 15, 20 of them, something like that, sitting around the table talking with President Trump. And President Trump did make some, I guess, surprising statements. He talked about different things that, nobody would think that he would talk about because, of course, he backs the NRA so much. He received, $30 million from them when he was running for president in 2016. So you wouldn't think that he would say something that they wouldn't back, but, may just be a political stunt too, and he knows that nothing's going to happen. But anyway, some of the things that were talked about was Trump supported an idea of confiscating guns from certain individuals that are deemed dangerous. He said even if it violates due process.
Yeah, and he said we could take care of that afterwards.
Yes, he said I like taking the guns early. Like in this crazy man's case that just took place in Florida, to go to court would have taken a long time. Take the guns first, go through due process second. Now I'm sure that did not.
Ooh, okay, now y'all know our position.
Yeah,
y'all know our position on this subject.
Yeah,
that's dumb,
boy.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. Forget about due process. We'll take care of that.
That
later.
Seems like that runs contradictory to maybe something the NRA, a group, organization that has donated to him, would support at all.
No. And this is the guy that said that there's no bigger defender of the Second Amendment than him. That's
just the wrong way to go about it.
It is the wrong way.
And actually, I don't think there's a Democrat that even suggested anything that overreaching.
Like, that's way out there. So I'm just wondering, though, when people heard that, especially people that support him, Republicans,
conservatives,
the far right, the conservatives,
Second Amendment,
how did that come through your ears? Like, how did you take that?
Take away the guns.
Did you pass out?
And then we'll iron out the details later.
Do you realize the complications?
But then the
consequences?
Didn't he use the word due process?
He did. Due process later.
That's
crazy.
Wait. That's not due process.
I know
if you take something away from me,
you've squashed due process.
No, that's a suplex. That's a due process suplex.
That's crazy, man. What else did he say? So he talked about the Toomey Mansion amendment, and this was a proposal back from 2013, a bipartisan proposal. So this proposal was meant to expand background checks, and I don't believe the Republicans that were there, I don't believe they supported that idea. But again, so it would expand background checks so that it would close the gun show loophole and, internet sales. It would somewhat establish universal background checks, but there are exceptions. The exceptions are for personal sales to friends and family.
What'd you call that earlier?
That is a gigantic loophole, dog.
That is a
gigantic.
That is a gaping,
a gargantuan.
That's a sinkhole. That's a sinkhole.
Friends and family.
That's purposely put in there so that certain people.
Yep.
Because that wouldn't be applied equally.
Who could qualify as a friend?
Everyone.
It's so dumb, man.
Everyone can qualify as a friend.
But even that, I don't think they want anything. They don't want anything to do with this.
No. That's what that is.
Yeah.
That's what I was talking about earlier. How they're being willfully stupid so that nothing gets done.
Yep.
There's the minute you heard that, you were like, okay, that doesn't make sense.
No.
There's no way that they don't know that doesn't make sense.
There's no way. These are smart people, right? That have experience in this. They talk about this way more than we do.
Somewhat smart. They're smart enough to know that that's a sinkhole.
Yes, they know that.
They're smart enough to know that, at least.
So a lot of talk was about this Fix Nix bill, where they want to fix the background check system. And so what they want to do is incentivize states and local authorities to report relevant data into this background check system. Now, how they're going to be incentivized to do so, I don't know. But the mere thought of this, the mere suggestion that state and local officials need to be persuaded to do their job, to actually report relevant data into the system.
But again, not the consequence. I wouldn't say the consequence of their job, but the intended purpose of their job in putting data into a system is to keep people safe. Their job is to keep people safe. So you shouldn't have to incentivize that.
You shouldn't.
Well, I would say a basic tenet of your job.
Yeah.
Maybe some other stuff.
Yeah.
I can see some other stuff. I have no problem with some other stuff. Maybe some side things, maybe some extra things that they can do to get something, points or whatever they do.
But you know
bonuses. But the basic principle behind their job is to keep people safe. So inputting proper data about certain individuals and what they do and how that may or may not qualify them to own some object, in this case a gun, that's kind of like basic. That's not special.
These states aren't islands, so like things that happen in their state, you know, have consequences. It may lead to problems in another state.
Oh, like you mean like somehow if somebody has the mentality to, you know, stab, rob, or kidnap, or kill or steal, whatever it is, rob a bank, it doesn't mean if they cross a state line all of a sudden they like go into like a moral reset.
Nah,
you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. That's why, again, to incentivize them, like why aren't they doing it now? It's ridiculous. But anyway, a lot of talk was done about that. Chuck Grassley, he talked about filmmakers, talked about how we need to bring filmmakers in here to talk about how they need to stop showing all this violence. Like I think he mentioned explosions.
But again, what's the context of the violence? Because war movies are violent as a mug. How
about your good cops? Movies about good cops, right?
There's explosions. Yeah, what about like actually not just like if you're talking about not just movies, you got to include television shows.
You have to.
How many television shows where the theme is about like terrorism, like 24 or like Homeland?
You have to. Come on, man. It's all over the place. So you want to shut all that down?
Specifically, like what is like he has to be more specific.
It's ridiculous.
Actually, he doesn't, because it doesn't matter to me. It's gonna be stupid.
Yes,
it doesn't matter how specific you get.
Garbage idea.
So where there was no violence before movies?
Must not have been. Must not have been.
He is old, so I don't know.
They talked about the Concealed Carry Reciprocity Act of 2017 because there were some there that wanted to include that into the Fix NICS bill. They wanted to couple that together. Now, Trump was saying that he wants a comprehensive bill. He wants, you know, I hate when he goes off on this tangent where he's like, I like the word comprehensive. And he talked about he talked about just the word for maybe about 20 seconds. I'm like come back. Come back, man. Come back.
He discovered a big word. give him the man. He discovered a big word. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
he's like, you know what I'm saying? He's like a child that just discovered like a new toy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But so, like I said, he wants a lot of things in this. He wants it to be a comprehensive bill. But there were some Republicans that wanted the Reciprocity Act, the Concealed Carry Reciprocity Act of 2017 involved. And Trump seemed to shut that down, saying, no, we're not going to do that. That has no chance of getting passed. We're not doing that. If you want that in a separate bill, we can, you know, maybe we could do that. But
that kind of takes.
We're not going to do that in this bill right here.
See, that's how you know he just likes the word.
Oh yeah.
Because essentially that involves that's comprehensive.
Yeah. I guess I don't think people expected him to take that position, but what he wants involved is like, you know, raising the minimum age of buying firearms. He wants the Fix NICS bill in there.
He wants to take the guns away from the mentally ill first.
He wants that too.
But I don't know how that's going to happen because
I don't know, man.
He's already kind of set it up himself to where that would be harder, where he's taking away money from Medicare.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't know, man. And then the Toomey Mansion proposal too. Those are the things that he supported. So afterwards, or actually, you know what? Let's talk about beforehand. Before this meeting even took place, Republicans were saying that there was no way that some of these things could get done. So one of them, I believe, was the Toomey Mansion proposal. Before the meeting, they were like, that has no chance of being passed, no chance whatsoever. Even Marco Rubio, he said he didn't support it back in the day, and he has no inclination to support it now. It's not getting supported. There's no way it's going to get passed. There's no way it's going to reach 60 votes. At lunchtime yesterday, they talked about the I believe they talked about the raising the age limit to 21. Republicans like, nope, not doing that either.
So again, what were we just talking about? Actually, not just Tuesday, but the week before that, about any of these proposals having like any chance with I would say today's Republicans, but I would say with this current batch of Republicans.
Doesn't seem like it has any chance. The only thing, like I said, the only thing that they're actually saying that has a chance of getting passed is this fixed NICS thing.
And then they don't really want to fix that, really. Yeah. They don't really want to fix it.
They're talking about incentivizing people, these states to put in the relevant data, but nothing else. And so, like, I'm here questioning, like, even on the Toomey Mansion proposal. Now, it's not officially universal background checks because, like we said, there's a gargantuan loophole, right? But even on that, why are Republicans, and specifically Republicans, on the outside looking in to background checks? Like, what about them specifically is against background checks? Like, if there are some background checks and you support that, like if you're going to say you're supportive of fixed NICS, then you are supportive of background
checks at some level.
So why would you be okay with some and not all? It makes no sense. It's completely insanity.
Because like, what really, if you're purchasing a firearm, or you were,
what's the purpose of it?
And again, and if there was that waiting period of like 3-4 days, right? What would be the difference if that waiting period is 8 days? You're still going to get your gun.
Yeah, you are. But it's not even that though. It's not even the waiting period. It's just the background check itself. Like, why would you be against setting up a practice to where on every gun sale there's a background check? Again, if you are for some of them, if you're saying that, hey, we need these background checks just in case, criminals, can get their hands on weapons, then why would you leave massive loopholes everywhere so that they could?
But I think
that makes no sense.
But you know the answer to that.
I know, but it doesn't make sense.
It makes sense because you know the answer. It makes perfect sense. You know why they don't want to do it.
It's stressing me out.
It has nothing to do with the Second Amendment. It has all to do with the NRA, and it has all to do with gun manufacturers. So it makes sense.
It makes sense, but damn it, man. So, we keep talking about this throughout the day. Every single program, every single broadcast that we do talk about something that has to do with gun reform, gun violence, whatever, because that's where we are. That's the national conversation that's taking place. Next week, Senate might not be talking about it at all. So the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, he has banking reform legislation on the docket for next week. That's on the schedule for next week. And then I believe after that comes sex trafficking, I believe. So, these politicians made it seem like we're living in a new day. Like, we need to wrap something up. Like, we need to actually get something up. We need to protect our children. And it seems like what's on the horizon is that they are shutting this thing down because nothing can be done. We're not budging. We're not doing anything.
They are essentially just twiddling their thumbs until this all blows over. That's like I thought they were going to do.
That's what they want. Just like every other time, right? Just like every other mass shooting, man. So where are we going to go? Now, we did highlight on Facebook, Dick's Sporting Goods. They put out a media statement saying that, it starts by saying that they're deeply disturbed and saddened by the, tragic events that happened in Parkland, Florida. They said that they respect and support the Second Amendment, but they need to make steps to make this country safer. And of course, they're a company. They're gonna put together certain rules so that they're aiding that effort. So they said that they will no longer sell assault style rifles, also referred to as modern sporting rifles. They said that they had already removed them from Dick's stores, but now they're gonna remove them from all the 35 Field and Stream stores. Also, they're gonna raise the age that you have to be to purchase a firearm to 21. They're no longer gonna sell high capacity magazines, and they said that they have never sold bump stocks and never will. So then they also said that while they're doing that, they encourage our political leaders, our elected public servants, to make moves on some issues. They said that they want them to ban assault style firearms, raise minimum age to 21, ban bump stocks, ban high capacity magazines, require universal background checks that include relevant mental health information and previous interactions with the law. Ensure a complete universal database of those banned from buying firearms. Close the private sale and gun show loophole. So that's what they want to see done.
Basically, they want businesses to take more responsibility,
exactly,
in regard to them selling deadly weapons.
That's it.
And you know what I'm
saying?
saying?
What they can.
And I've got the reactions to this.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
The reactions to this are priceless, man. First of all, Dick's isn't required by law to sell assault rifles.
No, they're not.
Or it's not like some, I guess, I don't know, unwritten societal rule that they have to sell assault weapons, assault rifles. But again, they're not completely like getting rid of their ability to sell firearms.
Right.
They're still selling guns.
Still selling
They're
them.
still selling guns, just not certain ones.
Certain ones.
And they said they can respect the Second Amendment and still not sell some types of guns. I don't know why people, like, how is it affecting them? They can get their guns from, they can get whatever gun they want from somewhere else.
No, boycott Dick's. That's
so
what we're seeing.
I'm trying to figure, is Dick's going to be targeted by local officials, kind of like Delta was?
Oh, and we're gonna get to that.
We'll get to that.
We're gonna get to that.
Are they going to be targeted?
Yeah, might.
But again, they still sell guns.
They still sell guns.
They're
so
just,
they still supportive of the Second Amendment.
They just think there should be more responsibility on behalf of gun sellers. And I think there should be too, because essentially you are selling a deadly weapon.
You are selling. Yeah, you are. Walmart and Kroger took some measures as well. They won't sell guns or ammunition to those that are under 21. So more companies that are recognizing state of affairs in America and trying to do something about it.
They don't sell alcohol to people under 21.
Yeah, I know.
Why do they do that?
Yeah.
Because they don't feel that people
at
a certain age are responsible enough.
That's
and actually,
correct.
that gets proven every day. And sometimes, in a lot of cases, there are people who are older than that who are not even responsible enough to drink alcohol.
Now, what Mike was talking about, Delta Airlines, we talked on the last broadcast about in where is this, in Georgia?
Yeah,
in Georgia. So Delta Airlines was one of the companies that said that they're no longer going to offer their customers a discount, through the NRA. So they wanted to sever that business relationship, and lawmakers in Georgia, Republicans, of course, were not happy with that news. So they threatened them pretty much. And they said that, hey, if you're going to end your relationship with the NRA, we're going to end your tax benefits, your tax cuts. We're going to end those. And sure enough, they did. And this is from The Hill. Lawmakers in Georgia removed a $50 million tax exemption for jet fuel from tax cuts legislation on Thursday, in a move that will punish Atlanta-based Delta Airlines. Republicans vowed to remove the exemption after the airline cut ties with the National Rifle Association.
So what that tells me is, like, first of all, the initial tax breaks they were getting, which were massive and unnecessary. So we that's got to be a disclaimer. They weren't getting the tax break because they supported the NRA, were they?
No.
Okay, then they were getting the tax break because we live in a corporatocracy, right? In a corporate friendly country.
That's correct. And they wanted to do favors for big business. That's what states do all the time. They cut taxes for these big business, these big corporations, and they do this under the guise of growth, jobs, and seldom does that ever happen. But in this case, this is so remarkable because, as we said on the last program too, they're being loud and upfront with their corruption. Like, they're saying that, hey, you know what? You have no right to this tax benefit.
You have no right to this massive tax break that we shouldn't have been giving you in the first place.
Exactly. So we're going to take it away because you don't support the NRA. Unbelievable.
So they're backtracking on their own corruption because of pettiness and politics.
Yes. Like, we already knew the corruption was there, but they're admitting to it publicly. They're saying this company shouldn't have this tax break, and because, you know, out of spite, because you're not supportive of the NRA, we're removing it. See how you like that?
So it takes not them, I guess, not these lawmakers in Georgia. I guess these lawmakers are not looking at the will of the people or what's good for the people in regard to tax policy.
No,
they don't ever do that, right? Okay. But their political pettiness led them to take a massive tax break away.
Yes. So instead of, because they could have been sneaky about this. They could have said that, you know what? We've reviewed some of the things that we do, and you know what? We found that Delta Airlines, you know, that tax break, that huge tax break that they're getting, that's not really benefiting the people of our great state of Georgia. We're going to strip that tax break away.
Out of principle.
Because they want to do the right thing.
Exactly.
For, you know, middle Americans, poor people. Hey, let's pump that money back into the state.
Lessen the burden so that the middle class and poor people can put money back into the economy.
Yeah.
That would have been that would have been integrity right there. That would have shown some integrity.
They could have said that. They could have.
So they didn't move because they didn't make moves because of that.
No,
they made moves because they're petty and they just because Delta they don't like Delta's politics.
Exactly.
But where does that end though? Does it there's a potential for it to like filter into other things. Like essentially they are like setting a precedent here.
They are.
Because what if like there's incentives for a small business, tax incentives for a small business, for you to start a small business. What if they don't like, I don't know, something the owner said, the owner of that business said, they don't like their politics.
Right.
Can they like write targeted policy?
Right.
Can they write like specific for this one particular business? Or what about a nonprofit organization? They don't like what a nonprofit organization represents.
Yo,
they don't like the politics, so like, hey,
exactly,
we're gonna take away some status. Like,
that's
where
why
does it end at?
That's why I think if Delta Airlines, if they actually want to make us think about this, they may have a claim, because it wasn't that these lawmakers were just conducting regular business. Like, hey, you know, we're doing this because this is the best interest of the people, blah blah. No, they actually were public about this being out of spite. Now, again, we're supportive of them losing that tax break.
Yeah, no,
but in the way that they did it was foul.
And the reason why they did it.
Yeah, it was mad foul. And like I said, I don't know if Delta Airlines is going to...
They might have a lawsuit,
They may have some recourse.
I'm not saying like... You know, again, we're in a weird position here.
Weird position.
We're in a weird position. Like, we don't agree with the massive tax breaks that they got.
The tactics that these
But
Republicans...
we don't agree with the tactics used by lawmakers in Georgia.
Yeah, Delta shouldn't get that tax break, but... Again, you're setting up a slippery slope.
Nobody should get the tax break then. That's what I'm saying.
True that. All right. All right. So let's get to just a few dumb things that we have noticed that a few Republicans have been saying. Okay, and this is all about guns, right? There's a few just dumb things that people are saying. Okay, so on Fox and Friends today, early, I believe it was this morning, Thursday morning on Fox and Friends, Dana Lesh, who's the spokeswoman of the NRA, she said that millions of American families would be punished by expanded background checks, and the NRA supports accurately reporting relevant data like convictions to the background check system. Now, again, I think I asked this question as it relates to these politicians that support some background checks, but not all. Why would you be for some? Because she's saying that. She said this publicly on TV. What we need to do is report relevant data like convictions to the background check system. But if a gun purchase can bypass that background check, then what does it matter? It totally makes
the background check irrelevant. That argument that is going to punish what, law-abiding, what?
Yes, it's gonna punish millions of Americans.
That's the same as the argument of, you know, law-abiding citizens being affected. That's the same thing. But again, if you have nothing in your background,
yes,
then you won't be punished. And guess what? If you are essentially, I'm gonna use the word since she used it. If you are punished, then there's something in that background check that comes up that triggers a punishment.
Right. But even the framing though, like, why would you frame it as a punishment? It's not a punishment. It is, you're even stating it yourself. She said that relevant data should be reported to the background check system. So if you're in favor of the background check system, that means that somebody's gonna have to undergo this background check.
Someone,
right?
And actually,
somebody will.
If you're already in favor of some background checks, you know that there are already markers in the system that are going to come up, which are going to disqualify some people already. So you're already okay with some people being disqualified from owning a gun because of certain markers that pop up in a background check.
But you're not in favor of it.
And I asked you the last show, I was like, hey, you have a child. Would you, would you insert your child into some sort of, your kid into a child care facility where the employees didn't have to go through background checks? I wouldn't say, I wouldn't look at that business and say, you're punishing, you're punishing, prospective employees and prospective teachers who are going to be looking after your child. You're punishing them with a background check. Well, guess what? If something shows up as some sort of marker that would indicate that they are not or they shouldn't be around children, that's their damn fault. That's their fault.
Before a police officer gets his shield and a gun, they have to go through a lot of things, but a background check being one of them.
I'm telling you.
Is that a punishment for them?
That application process, they ask you, like, I've seen the application. I've looked at one. It says, do you have any family members in gangs? That's essentially it's a self-reported background check.
It is.
But they don't just do a electronic background check. They do a question and answer background check to figure like your social background to see if you may have some conflict of interest there. Is that some sort of punishment if any of those you can't answer any of those questions correctly?
It doesn't make any sense, man. So let's go on to another thing, right? Okay, so there's a Republican state senator in Alabama. This guy's name is Gerald Dial. So he has a idea about how to curb some of this gun violence. He has proposed putting the 10 Commandments in schools. Some sort of plaque.
Wait. Is what you mean? Like what you really mean? This is what. Please tell me this is what you mean.
Go ahead.
It's a transparent plaque that's over all the windows that's bulletproof. That's what you mean, right?
No, the plaque isn't bulletproof.
Yes, that's what you mean.
No.
Please tell me that's what you mean.
So this is his words. These are his words. He says, I believe that if you had the 10 Commandments posted in a prominent place in school, it has the possibility to prohibit some student from taking action to kill other students. If this bill stops one school shooting in Alabama, just one, then it's worth the time and effort we're putting into it.
So what?
God.
Jesus,
God.
Yes, that's what's going to save the kids.
Yeah,
wait a second.
Plaque. Yeah.
Did Just Say No and all those like corny little drug adverts and campaigns, do kids even pay attention to that? I saw one.
Some kids do, some kids don't.
They were trying to be trendy. I wish I could remember what it was an acronym for, but they were trying to use the dab. it was like,
yeah, I don't know about
drugs are bad. Yeah, it was like drugs are bad, and it was like dab.
No,
I was like,
no, that Ackerman is bad.
That'll get the kids. He said, you know, I'm like, kids ain't paying attention to that. So
the one thing about this that got me though is like I thought laws don't prevent crime. I thought like gun laws or anything like if you try to legislate things away, it won't prevent anything. Isn't the Ten Commandments? Isn't that biblical law?
Not only is it biblical law, most of it can't be enforced.
It can't be enforced
like,
either.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Most of it is not even enforceable.
And
like,
how would you even know
like
that it had effect? How would you know that by you putting this plaque up that it actually curbed an attack? Like it foiled an attack. How would you know that? If it just stopped one, you would never know.
That's the point. Again, it goes back to exactly what I brought up at the beginning of the show. People are being willfully stupid because either they don't know or they don't want to go in the direction of meaningful solutions. So they're just kind of like, that's just another example of them twiddling their thumbs. Like you cannot rationally, like you can't think as a human being that this is rationally going to adjust people's thinking or like kind of thwart some, I guess, thwart the mental notion that somebody has to want to shoot up a school. It's not like he or she, but most likely he, is gonna be like, oh man, like I'm going through this mental anguish that no one understands, and I have an anger that cannot be bottled up. But damn, boy, that 10 Commandments. I'm not gonna shoot up a school now. You know what I'm saying?
That's asinine to think that. And another interesting thing about this particular senator, I believe it was recently, maybe last week, he voted down a bill that would have allowed other religious items to be placed in school, but they were not Christian based.
Dog.
He voted that down. So he's okay with Christian stuff being in the schools.
Because only Jesus can stop bullets. Dog, you know this, dog. You know what I'm saying? Only Jesus can stop bullets, man.
Oh yeah, and then the last one. This was basically right after what happened in Parkland, but we didn't talk about it. Representative Claudia Tenney from New York, a Republican, of course. She said that she was being interviewed on WGDJ radio, and she said, obviously there's a lot of politics in it. It's interesting that so many of these people that commit these mass murders end up being Democrats, but the media doesn't talk about that either.
Yeah, I know why the media doesn't talk about that, because it's not true.
It's not true.
It's not true.
It's not true. A lot of these people are not even registered.
But again, why do you have to, no matter what side you're on, what's the need to be dishonestly hyperbolic?
And why would you need to? Yeah, but what would that mean anyways? Let's say that they were Democrats. What would that mean?
Actually, to me, she's actually making a point to show that Democrats specifically that are proposing legislation on gun reform actually have integrity.
Right.
That's what she's saying to me.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that. But like,
because these would be their constituents, right?
Exactly, her trying to demonize, Democrats by saying that would be essentially she's saying, oh, these are the constituents of the Democrats doing all this. So
why wouldn't Republicans want to do something?
So if Democrats actually want to do something, that would be them being personally responsible for their constituency. That's if that's true, which is not.
Which is not.
So you're actually making Democrats look good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But going back to that the 10 Commandments thing, isn't that kind of like a violation of separation of church and state?
Mm-hmm.
So if teachers and faculty, well, therefore faculty and administrators of schools are not allowed to lead the students in prayer or anything like that, or impose their religion on students at all by leading prayer or leading or any kind of thing like that, why would that be okay?
Exactly. If you vote down non-Christian based items, but you say, good idea for a Christian based item, that should not be illegal. And another thing about the background checks too, with Dana Lesh saying, yeah, some are good, not all though. It punishes people. Where was I going with this? I can't even remember what I was going with it though.
Traffic?
No, it's too much to even. I can't even remember where I was going with it, man. Forget it. It's too much stupidity. Anyway, so let's go to one last thing about this. Colton Hobb. All right, so Colton Hobb was the guy. Yeah, trigger warning, right? So we're just gonna spend just a couple minutes on this because it's ridiculous. Now, a lot of conspiracy theorists out there that said that whatever the case was about Parkland, Florida, you know, whether it be crisis actors, whether it be a cover-up, whether it be a false flag, something, like we're not being told the true story, right? This doesn't add up, right? Now, a lot of those people pointed to Colton Hobb. Now, this was a student at Stoneman Douglas High School. And he came out and he said that the town hall, the CNN town hall that they did on gun violence, where some students from Stoneman Douglas were there, Marco Rubio was there, some other politicians, Dana Lesh. He said that he didn't go. He said that they pulled out because CNN was trying to script his questions. That's what he said. Now, after he said that, he provided the email that a CNN producer had sent to him to several news outlets. And by this email, it made it seem like CNN was trying to script the questions. Now, upon hearing this, you know, Colton Hobbs take his account, CNN came out immediately and they were like, that's totally false. We did not try to script any questions. No, that's not it. So his family and him said that what CNN was trying to do was slander him. They used the word slander. They were trying to slander him. Now, fast forward into present day. Colton Hobb is now telling a different story. So what he is now saying is that what he forwarded to all these other different news outlets, he said somehow he omitted some text from the email. The question that he wanted to ask somehow got clipped or cut off. Somehow.
So basically, you know what CNN was trying to do? They were like, they looked at the question and be like, it doesn't make sense. So again, you like, okay, let's revise this question because it doesn't make sense. It's cut off. So basically, he made a mistake, and he made I would honestly. It was an honest mistake.
See, I don't know. I don't know.
You think so?
I'm not gonna say.
But I'm just saying, it's a mistake that could be made. And if you sent an email thinking that you sent your entire question, like I said, if I sent an email thinking that it said something, and then somebody replied, and maybe I wasn't looking far enough down the email to see what I wrote, and all I'm looking at is that they replied to me, I'll be like, why are they trying to rephrase my question, man? I asked them this. Yeah. I'm just saying that could be a mistake.
Like he didn't read the whole email.
I'm just saying either way it's still bad. Either way it's still bad. I'm just saying it could be a mistake.
But see, this is bad though because the same people I was talking about to lead off this story said that this was proof. This was proof that something fishy was awry. Something was going on that did not make sense. And they used this specific example as proof. It wasn't verifiable. Nothing about it was fact checked. Nothing. CNN said no, this is not the case. But a student said that it was true, that he was being provided scripted questions, so automatically it's true. But turns out it's bullshit. And again, you say maybe he made an honest mistake. I don't know. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. So you say
Miss Tree Lee Camp just interviewed a teacher who works there, and he didn't go due to a scripted questioning. Oh, you mean what? I don't get that. Oh, he didn't go to where?
He didn't go to the town hall.
He didn't go to the town hall
because of a scripted question. That's what she's saying. I didn't see that. I didn't see that. So we'll see what that's about.
Yeah, we have to see what is about and how the questions were, are scripted.
Yeah. But yeah, on Fox News though, they had to pull, because of course they were on the assault. All CNN providing scripted questions, and so because of Colton Hall having to amend his statement because something was omitted, Fox News Channel, like
had
Hannity,
had
to recant that.
And
who's the other
Tucker
guy?
Carlson.
Tucker Carlson was like, yeah. So as of right now, we have no evidence that CNN was actually trying to provide scripted questions. So, but I'm sure there's a ton more evidence to sustain this conspiracy, though, right?
But again, which is it? What is CNN trying to script questions have to do with the conversation about gun reform? I don't get my talking points. We don't get our talking point from CNN. We try to, provide some sort of reasonable and objective rationale behind like why we think certain gun legislation makes sense.
Right.
We don't get our talking points with CNN, and most people don't. CNN does what CNN does. I don't give a damn what CNN does. I don't give a fuck if they're trying to script people's questions. They have a corporate news organization to run, and they have some sort of agenda. I don't give a damn about their agenda. I really don't. Yeah, they probably script a lot of things, and they probably script a lot of things because they kind of want the show to go in a certain direction. It's a show. Yeah. We don't get our talking points from there. So this conversation about reasonable gun legislation shouldn't like be hinged upon what CNN does. We don't care. You know what I'm saying? Shouldn't be. This conversation, like, if you want to talk about this gun conversation, CNN shouldn't even be in the conversation. Sorry.
All right, so we're going to move on. So we have a lot more to talk about Facebook. We're going to cut it off there for you. But we do have the resignation of Hope Hicks to talk about. The Manafort and Rick Gates, their charges dismissed. We have some things to talk about with that. And a case of police brutality. Video that we have to show about that. So please join us for the rest of the show on YouTube. The link is in the description. We will see you over there. All right, so first let's get to Hope Hicks. So the third White House communications director.
Yeah, why you say that? Like you announcing a heavyweight fight. The third communications director.
Hey man, they can't keep that job, man. I mean, it's been just over a year, and the third one's out the door, on the way out the door. Hope Hicks announced that it has been announced that she will be resigning. I don't think there's a firm date on it yet, but her employment is going to end. She's going to get out of that role. Now, Hope Hicks is definitely one of Trump's most trusted allies, or one of his most trusted aides. She's been with him for a while. She was with him at the start of his candidacy. I think this goes back to 2015. She started working for Ivanka, I believe, first. Then she started working for Trump, I believe at Trump Tower. And then after that, when Trump said that he was going to run for president in 2016, he wanted Hope Hicks to be his press secretary. So she was in that role, and she followed him into the White House. When she got to the White House, she was in a role that was created. It was the Director of Strategic Communications. And so she filled that role for a while until Scaramucci got canned. And then she went into the role as Communications Director. But now, like I said, she's going to be resigning. Now, according to the New York Times' Maggie Haberman, she's the one that revealed Hicks's resignation plan. She said, quote, she told colleagues that she had accomplished what she felt she could with a job that made her one of the most powerful people in Washington, and that there would never be a perfect moment to leave.
Interesting.
Push.
Oh, a perfect moment. Oh, I know what makes the moment perfect, because she is on that subpoena list. She's on that Mueller subpoena list, boy. She's on that Mueller subpoena list. That Mueller, sorry. I keep on saying Mueller. But yeah, she's on that. She's yapping. She's barking like a dog.
She might. Now this came.
She probably is. I don't know if she is.
Yeah, we don't know. But now this came one day after she testified in a closed door meeting with the House Intelligence Committee. Now, been reported that she did not answer many questions, and those congressmen were getting very, very upset with her because they were like, "We've been banned," because of Bannon doing the same thing or whatever. But like I said, she didn't answer a lot of questions, but she did say that she was required to tell white lies for President Trump.
And your boy was a little mad that she said that.
Yeah, that's been reported. So CNN's Aaron Burnett said that according to a close Trump ally, Trump was infuriated and he berated her, saying things like, you know, how could you be so stupid to actually admit to that?
Dog, this mug is a professional bridge burner, man. Like, dog, like the people that actually went in there, for whatever motive, I don't care, whatever the motive was, they have his back.
Right.
But then, like, they realize that by having his back, they constantly have to jump through hoops. They have to fall through mental trap doors just to cover for him, just to answer for him. They figure out how hard it is, and then they have no way out, and they try to ease their way out without alienating him that much. And if you don't talk glowingly and just like talk about him in an upstanding way, you've already betrayed him.
Exactly.
Then what he does, he just kind of burns his bridges, and he sets himself up for people to maybe relinquish some information about him. But about the white lies thing,
right?
Does she really have to say it publicly
for us
to know that was
thing?
Her job in the first place? Like, we already saw it with your boy Spicy.
Yeah.
We already saw it with slanty face Forrest Whitaker, Sanders.
We see that on a daily basis.
We see that with her.
Yeah.
We see that with Kellyanne. We see that with Miller. We see that with Gorka. We see that with everybody associated with Trump. We even saw that with the general.
Yeah.
Or the former general.
Yeah, John Kelly. Yeah.
So, like, we already know that that's the case. It's not like that being publicly
Yeah, that's not breaking
said.
news. That's not breaking news. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, of course, it's just interesting again that there's this much flux in the White House. You know, another position that's gonna have to be filled by somebody else, the fourth communications director. I don't know where they're gonna go. Kellyanne Conway, she was on Fox and Friends.
Bring back the mooch.
The mooch, man. she was on Fox and Friends, and she said that Hicks quit because she's a New Yorker. And she has a great family, I guess, that she needs to be around. Her family, I believe, lives in Connecticut. So Hicks has not spent a lot of time in New York. I think, you know, because she's from Connecticut. Now, that is in the tri-state area, so you could say, you know, no, that's not a New York. You're around New York, but she started working in New York maybe 2010, 2011, something like that, after she got out of college in Dallas, Texas. So is she a New Yorker? Whatever. We know exactly what happened. Whether it was her idea because she doesn't want to be berated like that, and she's tired of having to make up these, you know, little white lies for Donald Trump, or maybe Donald Trump canned her because she, you know, apparently was that stupid to admit it. We don't know, but that's obviously part of the equation here. So she's out, and the next one is already out the door. I mean, well, on the way out the door, because you know the fourth one is going to be leaving sometime.
So before they even in, they already out.
Got a shelf life, man.
Yeah. It definitely has a shelf life.
Yeah. All right. So the Robert Mueller investigation. Okay. Now, many weeks ago, we reported on the charges on Paul Manafort and his close associate, Rick Gates. And there was a laundry list of charges on him because
money
laundering, failing to register as a foreign agent because they were trying to
setting up like false businesses.
For like the Ukraine. So I mean, there's just a lot of things that they did, and you know they spent lavishly. It's just a whole bunch of charges, right? Now, it seems like it's always seemed like Mueller had them dead to rights. It's always seemed like that. Like, you know, the charges that are levied on them are pretty solid. That's what's been reported. I mean, that's what it seemed. That's what it seems to be. Like, they're going down.
Yeah, and regardless of what you say, people say they lead to, there's you know, valid like argument to say that, you know, there's something there.
Yeah, there's something there.
And it's already been proven, whether it be with Flynn, Manafort.
That's true.
You know, and Papadopoulos.
Now we don't have to go as far as saying that because of their actions that started before. I mean, this started years ago. That
means something about Trump automatically.
Yeah, no, we're not saying that this proves collusion. Oh, Russia. I mean, like Trump did it. You know, he knew about collusion, and he tried to fix the election. No, we're not saying anything like that. What we're saying is that the charges against Manafort and Gates seem to be solid, and they actually seem to be charges. Like they did some illegal stuff. Okay, so it was recently announced that Rick Gates was going to enter into a plea agreement with Mueller, and that was announced, I believe, Friday. And I believe it was Friday that he actually did enter into the plea agreement, and okay, so that was Friday, right? Now, fast forward a couple days later after the weekend. It was on Tuesday, I believe, that Robert Mueller appeared in federal court and asked a federal court judge to dismiss a series of charges against Rick Gates. So the only two charges that remain are conspiracy against the United States and making false statements. Those are only two charges left. Now, those charges carries a maximum sentence of 10 years in prison. It's more likely that he'll probably get something lesser, maybe 5 years, something like that, and a fine. But it's looking a lot better for Gates than weeks ago.
Yeah, because when you cop a plea, that means you were willing to give up enough.
Yes.
For prosecutors to be like, well, damn.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, damn. You know what I'm saying? When
we could use your testimony on something. We can use whatever you know against somebody. Now, that's where we're going with this, right? So, again, it has seemed all along that Mueller has Gates and Manafort dead to rights. So, I think anybody that pays attention to news, the law, politics, even if you've watched Law and Order a few times.
Like prosecutorial strategies.
Exactly. Anybody that knows anything about the justice system and, again, prosecutors, you wouldn't think that somebody would be offered a plea agreement if they don't need to. And that's as simply put as I can put it. With Manafort, like I said, there's a laundry list of charges. It seems like he's going down. It seems like they can prove their case. Of course, we don't know the inner workings. We don't know everything, but it seems
you're saying we don't know the inner workings.
Right.
So right now, because see, you're usually the sensible calm one. I'm the one you usually have to like put a lid on because I can get just a little amped up.
Right.
With that being said, whoever the fucking troll is in the chat, you need to fucking stop.
What's he doing?
I don't know who the hell it is. I'm not even gonna call the name out. But if you continue, I will call your name out. You just heard us say. You just heard us say we don't know whether this has anything to do with Russia and Trump. We don't know. We don't think so right now, and we're not saying so. So please don't say anything about we believe in Russiagate.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't.
No, we're not talking about Russia.
We're not talking about Russia. We're talking about
charges against Manafort and Gates.
Charges and indictments right now, and the subpoenas and people who are, pretty much. It's been established, that they were involved in some sort of illegal activity. That's it. We didn't say anything about Russia.
There are many people that can be charged with the same thing. It doesn't mean that they were involved in Russian.
So stop asking stupid questions when you just heard my boy say. We don't think this has anything. We don't see anything involving Russia collusion. So don't ask dumb questions. Don't clog up the chat with bullshit.
Yeah, we're not assuming anything. But forget that. All right. So anyway, again, if the case against Manafort is strong, it doesn't seem like there's a good reason to offer Gates a plea deal to go after Manafort. Now, maybe they do use something from Gates against Manafort, maybe. But again, it just seems like that's unnecessary. So then you would have to ask yourself, why is Mueller doing this? What is Gates actually giving up, and who is he giving up? Who is this about? It doesn't seem like it just doesn't seem reasonable that the plea agreement was based on what he's going to give up on Manafort. That just doesn't seem like sound logic. So is it against Trump? We don't know, but it seems like that's likely. Now, what does he have to say? Again, we don't know. We're not going to speculate. We're not going to say that there's something hard. There's like some tangible proof that he can offer up, and that will prove that Trump had some knowledge of this or that. We have
there's no way
idea.
For us to know, but kind of like what this kind of is an illustration, and it shows that, you know, Trump is no different from everyone else in power. Like, kind of, that's why the conversation needs to be had, because we were told that, like, oh, he's not a part of the swamp.
Right.
He's not a politician, so he doesn't get down like politicians. He doesn't do favors for people. He doesn't surround himself with like people who are engaged in criminality, like his own damn son-in-law.
Right.
Like, most people don't know Charles Kushner, Jared Kushner's father. He served some time in jail for, guess what? Tax evasion with 2 other cronies.
Yep.
So what I'm saying is that these associations do mean something. It doesn't mean anything about Russia per se, but it does mean something. It like takes away this whole narrative about like Trump being not a part of this kind of elite system
and not part of the establishment.
Not part of the establishment.
Right. That's
why the conversation is important. You know what I'm saying? Because it kind of dispels this whole like narrative that people seem to believe about Trump, or people, I just don't get it.
Right. I don't know. Again, it's possible that this is going to go on for many months. We have no idea when this investigation is going to come to a close, and we don't know what we're going to learn from it. We have no idea what's going to come from it. As of right now, what we know is that Rick Gates is obviously working with Mueller. And with this plea agreement, it is written into the plea agreement that Gates cooperates in any and all matters that the special counsel office decides are relevant. So he's hook, line, and sinker. He's in. We don't know what information he's going to provide. We don't know who it relates to. To me, it just doesn't make sense that it would be Manafort. Maybe the case against Manafort is weaker than we know.
Yeah, maybe it is.
But again, we can all this is all just speculating. We're just trying to connect the dots that are out there. That's it. But there's no way we can arrive at a solid opinion about this. All right. Okay. Yeah. We talked about on the last show as well about the West Virginia teacher strike. So the teachers are striking, and this has been going on since last week. And they're striking because of they believe that they need more pay, and they believe that something needs to be done about their benefits as well. And that's really the big issue, the benefits. They want more pay, but it's not just about the money. And like I said, that's not the biggest issue. The rising cost associated with the state's health insurance program is the big issue. The health program is called the Public Employees Insurance Agency, PEIA. That's the biggest problem. So they haven't reached a solution on that. On Tuesday, the teachers actually met with the Republican governor, Jim Justice. And no, this wasn't Tuesday. This was on Monday. On Monday, they actually met with him, I believe. No. Whatever. I think this was Monday night, Tuesday, whatever. It doesn't really matter. But on Tuesday evening, he agreed to raise the teacher salaries by 5%. Now, that was the earlier draft of the bill that was being discussed in the legislature. Now, they had knocked it down to 4%. Teachers was like, no, we're striking. That's it. So Jim Justice says, you know what? Okay, you know what? We're going to give you 5%, right? Still nothing done on the rising costs of, healthcare with the state insurance program. But they said, the teachers was like, you know what? We got this. The governor said that he would try to look for solutions and a permanent fix for the health insurance system. So that's something that would go on afterwards. So the teacher said, okay, you know what? We got this. We'll come back to work. We'll end the strike. So they were supposed to come back to work today on Thursday. did not happen. Why didn't it happen? Is because the bill got stalled in the legislature. So they're discussing if they can actually pay these teachers 5% more. And they're like, man, I don't know, man. I don't know if we have this money. So the Senator Mitch Carmichael, who's the president of the Senate, he said, quote, "We cannot continue to spend money we do not have or write checks we cannot cash." So they do not believe that they have the money in their government to pay these teachers. So the strike is still on. Schools across the state are still closed. And this will go into Friday, where schools are expected to be closed again. So we don't know how long this is going to last, how long the legislature is going to hold this up. But
wait. What was the last part? You said they don't have enough. They don't have enough money.
That's what they said.
But
that's what they said.
But I'm just saying, like, is that true? Like, is there something else that would show that they're kind of like not telling the whole story?
Well, before we get into that, this is from The Atlantic, okay? So West Virginia has in recent years grappled with a budget deficit and a weak economy that justice and policymakers have said hampered their ability to increase teachers' pay and to fully fund PEIA. But critics argue that politicians' resistance to taxing coal, natural gas, and manufacturing corporations is to blame for the lack of funds. So that's where you're going, okay? That's exactly where you're going.
Okay. So
those industries, coal, natural gas, manufacturing, they receive large tax benefits. And actually, there's a proposal in the legislature right now to even do more for them. It's called Senate Joint Resolution 9. This would enact about a $140 million per year tax cut for those industries. Now, the reason why this legislature wants to do more for them is because these are the job creators. They believe that this is going to lead to growth and more jobs. Stimulate the economy for everybody in West Virginia. Now, you wouldn't believe it if I told you, but this has been done before in West Virginia, where these huge corporations have gotten tax benefits, tax cuts, and somehow it didn't lead to a better situation for teachers, for a lot of people in the state of West Virginia.
So, like, millions and millions, possibly billions of dollars in tax breaks, right? They can afford that, but
they can afford that.
Let's say those teachers haven't received a raise since what, like 2014 or something like that. That's correct. And then their healthcare premiums that they get through the state is about to double. They can't do anything for them.
Rising costs.
Some of those teachers make $40,000 a year, maybe.
I think West Virginia is 48th out of all 50 states in average teacher pay.
Let's just say that make about $40,000. Let's say they make 40.
I think it's like 45.
45. Well, I was like, okay, that's about
something like that. But it's 48th.
5%. They're negotiating for 5%. That's about.
But again, that's not the biggest. That's not the biggest issue. It's the healthcare. The rise in cost of healthcare.
But that's just one of the issues.
That's just one of them. Right.
So on one of the issues, that may amount to about, after taxes, $125 a month per teacher, extra. They can't do that. But they have enough to give tax breaks. Okay, that makes sense.
And they wonder why they have a weak economy. They wonder why they have a weak economy and can't pay the teachers.
So the tax breaks didn't undergird some sort of economic growth.
No. They just don't want to tax these corporations. Why?
Dog, these corporations hold these mugs hostage, but then they hold them hostage and not getting anything in return. Exactly. I don't get that.
But see, this isn't stuff that just happens on the state level. What did we just go through just a few weeks ago? Tax Cut and Jobs Act, is that what it's called? With President Trump adding about $1.5 trillion to the deficit over 10 years and more after that, cutting the corporate tax rate from 35 down to 21, even though these corporations are not paying 35% in taxes. And many of them aren't paying taxes at all. They're getting a rebate. But you have to do more for them.
So it's almost like they're getting more of a rebate now.
They're getting more of a rebate, man. because these are the job creators, and this is all going to stimulate the economy, like you said.
Oh, wait,
lead to more jobs.
And remember, what did Marco Rubio say? Like right after the tax bill passed. Remember that? He said, dang it. I think we went too far. He pretty much said, I think it went too far. He pretty much admitted that I don't think these corporations are going to do what they say they're going to do.
Oh, really?
He said that.
I remember us saying that before they voted on it.
Not just before they vote, probably like way before. Like before this tax bill became an issue. We've always been saying that.
Always been saying that, man. So, again, man, this is just on a smaller scale because it's just dealing with one particular state. But because of the way they go about doing things in that state, these teachers, I don't know, man. Are they going to get paid? Are they going to get what they're asking for? And they're not even getting everything that they're asking for because the biggest problem is not being addressed yet. So, yeah, you might raise their wages, but is that really going to help when their premiums might double? It's still going to be a net negative. This is the situation, man. All right. I think we have a few other things here. I believe it was earlier today. There was a White House summit on the opioid epidemic. And there were many speakers, panels of speakers that were up there. I saw Ben Carson up there. I saw Kellyanne Conway talking, and President Donald Trump was there as well, speaking about the opioid epidemic. He seemed to suggest that the death penalty for drug dealers might do something positive for our current situation in America.
Wait a second, like they get the death penalty for selling drugs and dealing drugs, or death penalty as in like street justice, like your boy with Duterte.
Yeah, Duterte.
Yeah. I could be pronounced
Philippines
wrong, but Philippines president.
Yeah,
because
he wasn't specific. This was his actual quote. He said, "The drug dealers, the drug pushers they're really doing damage. They're really doing damage. Some countries have a very, very tough penalty, the ultimate penalty. And by the way, they have much less of a drug problem than we do. So we're going to have to be very strong on penalties." What does that sound like? If other countries, which
that sounds like
you know what he's talking about.
Yeah, Philippines.
Because they've been killing drug dealers.
He just should have said other country.
Yeah.
He really meant to say other country.
And he's praised Duterte for his methods.
Looks up to him.
Yeah. Oh, you're doing something great with the drug problem. Oh my gosh, a fabulous job. He's praised him on that when he knows that the Philippines are killing drug dealers.
This is just another, like, it's no different. This is a different, like, I guess, pathway to kind of keep solvent the war on drugs. It's just a different pathway.
It is.
Like,
it is. It's just ramping it up. It's just ramping that. Again,
so
I know
no dealer is going to pop up. No other like right now. It's not like it's already illegal. It's already illegal, right?
Exactly.
So it's not like new dealers won't pop up. They already know the risk now. And also, like, again, why wouldn't it end with opioids?
Exactly.
Why wouldn't it end with opioids?
Why wouldn't it?
Why wouldn't like the same argument be applied to, I don't know, like some other drug, like meth?
That's true.
Meth, or you know what I'm saying?
You could go to cannabis too.
Again,
cannabis is on the same schedule.
Any drug
as heroin
is illegal.
Provide no medicinal value, right?
Any drug that's like illegal right now. Like, why wouldn't you apply the same standard as far as like the level of punishment that's issued to dealers and sellers?
Right.
How is that even a reasonable I guess strategy? So this thing like this.
I know what he's gonna say if he does even comment on this, because that is exactly what he suggested. He knows what he suggested too. But I'm sure if he does comment on this in the future, he's gonna be saying, "No, that's not what I meant. I just said that there has to be a stiff penalty, and other countries have the ultimate penalty. That's not what we're gonna do here. We just gotta get tough. We gotta get tough." No, you know what you suggested.
He's talking tough. He's talking tough. It's definitely not going to happen.
Look, man, anybody that's coming at this with some common sense and logic and some reasoning, you can't legislate away drug addiction. You can't legislate away drug dealers. It's not going to happen. This war on drugs will never be won if there is a war on drugs. It's got to be a passive war on drugs. You have to rehabilitate people that have addiction problems.
And the people are involved in the enforcement at least have to be involved in some sort of substance abuse, like advocacy organization, or pharmacology, like health care professionals. Like they should, like police officers should not be enforcing drug laws.
No, they shouldn't.
The long arm of the law should not be tackling this issue. And because if it's a healthcare issue,
right?
That's the direction we should be going in, and not like this overly prosecutorial, pathway.
These people that are, I mean, because like what is it? What 50% of prisoners are there for drug crimes? Something like that. It's a large percentage of it. So the people that are in jail for drug crimes and they have lengthy sentences, right? Are they rehabilitated in jail? Absolutely not. They're just housed and that's it. They, cheap labor. They're not rehabilitated at all. So you're in jail for a while. You come out. A lot of these people are poor, right? A lot of these people are going to do what? They're going to go right back into the same lifestyle at some point. And then what happens to the recidivism rates? They skyrocket, or they stay exactly where they are because they already are high. This is a bad system that we have here. It's a horrible system, but it's great for private prisons. It's great for the school to prison pipeline. It's good. It's great for the DEA agents, police officers. It's great for a lot of different things.
Oh, it's great for the bail bond system. It's great for maybe a civil asset forfeiture industry as well.
Man, buku bucks, right? Get it off your prepaid card. Oklahoma. Oh, yeah. You got a prepaid card? Let me get that. I'm gonna take everything off of this
because they kind of use drug laws as an excuse to take property away from people. You know what I'm saying?
It's crazy, man. All right, so while we're on that subject, though, of really criminal justice, law enforcement.
Shout out to Sheriff or former Sheriff David Clark.
David A. Clark. You'll understand why he's shouting him out just in a few minutes. So there was a case in, what state is this? Damn, I don't even have the state of here. What state is this, man?
I thought it was. I thought I'm gonna say it was Georgia, but I could be wrong.
It could be Georgia.
I want to say Georgia.
Hold on 1 second before we get, because I definitely want to name the state.
North Carolina.
It was North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Okay. All right. So again, So this story deals with police brutality in North Carolina. This is in Buncombe County. Never heard of Buncombe County before. But anyway, so this incident took place in August of 2017. That's last year in the summertime. There was a video that's been obtained by Citizen Times. It's of a man named Johnny Jermaine Rush. And it dealt with jaywalking. Okay, this whole incident started with jaywalking. Okay, so he was stopped because of jaywalking, and the sequence of events led to an arrest, a very brutal arrest. So we have a video to show you. It's about a 3-minute video. We condensed it a little bit because this video is actually about 8 to 9 minutes long. So we condensed it. If you do want to see the full video, you can check out our Facebook page. We posted it there, and on the Citizen Times website as well. It's on there. But here we go. We're going to show you the video, and then after it's done, we'll come back and talk about it.
For the jaywalking, he just did it again. And again! He's not learning. Right after you just told him.
I just told you. I've got two options. Look at me and listen to me. I got two options.
I'm tired. I just got off of work,
Rush,
man.
look at me. I'm trying to communicate, and you're limiting
my... I haven't did nothing
You
wrong.
just committed 4 crimes in a row. Just because you don't agree it's a crime doesn't mean it's not a crime.
It ain't the point of that, man. You ain't got nothing better to do besides mess with me.
Guess what?
And I'm trying to go home. I just got off from work, man.
Pedestrians get hit in the street every
and you act like I'm not paying attention.
You think I'm a punk. Guess what? I'm
what
not. I don't think you're a punk either.
It doesn't matter, man. Do what you got to do besides keep harassing me, man.
I'm not harassing you.
Yes, you are.
That's all in your mind, man.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You're right. I'm sorry.
Look at me. Look at me.
I don't have to look at you.
Just look at me. I'm trying to communicate with you. You're still trying to fuck me out.
No, I'm not.
Right,
Just write him a ticket. He wants to act like a punk.
Okay, man. That's what you want to say.
Y'all ain't got shit better to do besides harass somebody about fucking walking.
Put your hands behind your back. Do not. Stop. Drop the bag. Put your hands behind your back. I just told you.
Sir, look. Sir, look. No.
Mother.
Well,
43 on foot. White male. A black male. White tank top. Thinks it's funny. You know what's funny is you will get up hardcore. Get on the ground.
Get on the ground, Rush.
Put your hands behind your back.
Okay.
Put your hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back. Put it behind your back. Now. Stop.
Just
Put
your
it
hands
behind your back.
Rush, put your hand behind your back. Rush, put your hand behind your back. Rush, put your hand behind your back. There you go. Hand
Behind your back. Behind your back.
my hand's stuck.
Oh my God.
There you go, Rush.
I can't, man.
Hand behind your back.
I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Oh my God. Ow. 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 Ow.
Rush.
Okay. Ow.
Lie down flat.
Ow. I can't.
Put your hands behind your back.
I can't. Put your hands behind your back. Ow.
Behind your back.
Behind your back. Ow. Help! 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 All this over you getting a ticket? Now it's serious, bro. So we caught him. Then he wanted to fight. Tried to drag the taser out of my hand, and then I just went on his fucking head. I beat the shit out of his head. I'm not gonna lie about that. Tried to grab the taser and pull it from us.
There is no police brutality in America. We ended that back in the 60s.
There you go, Sheriff David A. Clark. That's from an older clip, of course, back from 2015 or 16, I can't remember. But yeah, somehow we ended police brutality back in the 60s, but it still happens. I don't know. That's an amazing thing. But yeah, this incident is very disturbing, and I have many questions. My first being, who escalated this situation?
Let's see.
Who escalated
Was
it
situation?
Johnny Jermaine, Rush? Or was it the officer?
You
the
know
officer's name, let me be clear. The officer's name is Officer Chris Hickman.
Not just
the one that was beaten on.
Not just who escalated the situation physically, but like rhetorically in their rhetoric, like which parties escalated the situation. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like what kind of I guess gravity did they place on the situation and this man? Like, even prior to them engaging him.
Right.
Like, it just seems like they were already amped up.
Well, one of them.
Oh, at least yeah. One of them was already like amped up, like, you know, like you think I'm a punk.
Yeah, that was the one that was questioning
him. Like, you think I'm a punk?
Yeah, he just threw that out there.
He just threw that out there. Like, really?
You think I'm a punk? I don't think you're a punk.
See, he's like automatically trying to set it up to like justify him treating that dude that way. Like, you think I'm a punk? Like, really? Like, I didn't hear that. He just says he just doesn't want to be harassed. He just feels like he's being harassed. Now, yeah, if jaywalking is an issue for them, that's great. Yeah, that's fine if they want to address that. But if you just listen to their tone, they were treating it like it was such an egregious offense, and he had to learn his lesson, and we got to confront him and talk to him. Like,
It started, okay, so you saw it started when they were in the car. And obviously before this situation that we saw on camera took place, they had an earlier run-in with them. Maybe that was, just minutes before, where an officer said, stop jaywalking. And then he, jaywalked again. So that's what led to this. Now, did he jaywalk? Obviously he did. I'll take the officer at his word that he was jaywalking. Now, how many people jaywalk? A lot of people jaywalk. Mostly everybody jaywalks, especially when it's nighttime.
It's late.
Or if it's a side street or something like that. There's no car. Street. It didn't seem. It wasn't a busy street. Now, again, the officer made it clear. Hey, you don't think it's a law, but it is a law. You're illegally crossing the street. So if they want to be specific about it, I'm not gonna really begrudge them about that. If they want to be that ticky-tacky, if they want to go and, because it is kind of harassment, because especially if there's no cars cross, like the purpose of jaywalking, of having jaywalking laws, is that you don't put yourself and other people in jeopardy, especially like the cars that are coming, like, because maybe they might try to dodge you and that cause an accident or something like that. So that's the spirit of the jaywalking laws. So yeah, I mean, this might have been ticky-tacky, but was it the rule of law? Yeah, okay, sure it was. So if they want to go after him for that, cool, go after him for that. He seemed to think that these officers were harassing him, and he stated so. Now then sometime, when they were talking, he even like backed up. He was like, you know what? I'm sorry. You know what? My fault. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because one of the guys saying like, you think we're harassing you? That's all in your head. And he was like, and he basically,
he brought it down.
He said, yeah, I'm sorry. You're right.
And then what happened directly after that, the officer was like, look at me. And dude was like, man,
I don't have to look at you. I can hear you.
Exactly. Like, why do I got to look at you? And so because of that, the officer that was talking to him said, you know what? Okay, you know what? I'm gonna write you a ticket. And that's what the officer that actually ended up beating him said. You know what? He wants to be a punk.
Just write him a ticket.
Let him be a punk. Write him a ticket. So then that's when Rush starts to say, man, y'all just harassing me, and man, I'm just trying to get home, blah, blah, right? And then he uttered, a curse word. He said,
y'all ain't got shit else to do with harass me or something.
Yeah, fucking harassing me or something like that, right? And right then,
okay, put your hands behind your back.
Right then is where the arrestable offense happens.
So how did it escalate to him? Like I'm giving him a citation. Hey, just give him a citation. How did it go from that to put your hands behind the back? You're under arrest. Like what? Like specifically? Like was he? He said, do what you have to do.
That's right.
He literally
write
said,
the ticket.
He said, write the ticket. He wasn't trying to run away from the ticket. He just said, I'm gonna have to give you a ticket or arrest you. He said, man, do what you gotta do. Basically, write me a ticket. I'm okay with the ticket. I'm not even trying to fight you on giving me a ticket.
Right here.
I'm standing right here.
I'm not
trying
running,
to fight
not
you.
Not going nowhere.
Yeah. So he's like, go ahead. Pretty much, give me a ticket. I just don't like y'all harassing me. Okay, you're being arrested. Like, this mug didn't even, he didn't.
No, like, okay, so his language, harassment, and we've seen this before in certain videos as well. Like when you throw out the harassment word, it seems like these police officers get offended, and it's like, oh, I got to escalate it now. You offended me. You're disrespecting me. And I think we've said this probably dating back all the way to 2016. Probably one of the biggest crimes in America is disrespecting a police officer. And we saw that again right here when he perceived disrespect. You got to slap the cuffs on him. Now, again, like Mike said, he was saying the whole time, yo, just do what you got to do. Write me the ticket. If you see that this guy isn't getting it, you already stopped him once for jaywalking, and he's continuously doing it. I think the officer said he did it 4 other times.
You broke the law 4 times.
You broke the law. Okay, so this guy's not getting it. You see that he's talking about this is harassment. You're not going to get anywhere with this guy. Just go in the car, write him the ticket, give him to him, let him be on his way. If he's talking, who cares? Just do your job. That's what you're there for. You're not there to escalate the situation. And by saying, like, if he just wants to be a punk, let him be a punk. That's interesting. That's an interesting comment, because it seems like the officer was being the punk because he couldn't even take a little comment. He couldn't even take the guy being distressed and upset with the situation.
Yeah, so pretty much like, he was projecting. He was projecting.
Feel bad.
He was projecting. He was projecting because
his sensibilities got all up here. Like he couldn't deal with them anymore. I got to slap the cups on him.
But essentially, like even showing any kind of agitation at all.
At all. Arrestable offense.
Any kind of agitation at all is not just an arrestable offense. It's disrespectful to just even be agitated. Like, how dare you? How dare you be agitated?
Oh my God.
And of course, like I said, it's all about like the tone of the situation that kind of threw me off. Like, you knew what it was about. You knew what it was. It was really about them flexing their, I guess their law enforcement muscles. When somebody's like tells a grown man, "Look at me, look at me." Like, who are you
to look at you, man? You ain't my daddy. Exactly. Get out of here. So okay, so once the cuffs are about to get on, that's when the altercation picks up. It commences, and he's trying to get away. Now, I can understand, because if this is about a jaywalking ticket and he's not running, he hasn't tried to come at you, he's not trying to brandish a weapon or anything like that, I guarantee in his mind, like, I'm not being arrested over this. Why would I be arrested over this? Just write the ticket, let me be on my way. So the cop is coming to arrest him. I can understand why that would be a scary, proposition for this guy, right? So did he do the right thing by running? I could understand why he was trying to get away, while he's feeling scared. But yeah, you shouldn't run. You shouldn't run, because you are going to make the situation worse. Now, is that justifiable though? Because he ran, he got caught up with, it wasn't like he was a track star and he was really even trying to get away. I mean, he stopped himself. It wasn't like the officer had to tackle him. He slowed himself down. They put him on the ground, and then the officer starts beating him on the head, beating him in the face. Put your arms back. Stop resisting. Stop resisting.
And
right?
He kept saying, again, when you are so hyped up and your I guess your authoritarian adrenaline is flowing, you know what I'm saying, and you're the aggressor, you're not going to hear anything. And he was saying, I can't.
I know.
I can't.
He was saying, I can't breathe.
I was like, I can't breathe. You said, you're telling me to do this. You're telling me to put my arms behind my back. Most likely because he was being restrained in a certain way where his arm couldn't move. That's why he said, he's like, I can't, man. I can't, and I can't breathe.
But this officer is not listening.
So you're giving, the officer is giving him commands that he cannot obey based on what the officer himself is doing. If you're going to give commands, then you have to put this suspect in a position where he can obey the commands. And
then what that leads to is tasering. He tasered him twice. And he's screaming, I can't. He's just screaming. Like, so, how you give this mug
how you give this mug instructions when you're tasing him?
Or when his face is pressed down into the ground.
Face pressed down into the ground, and he's being tased. So I'm like, wait a second. There's an electrical current flowing through your boy's body.
And what, like, I haven't been tased. Have you been tased before?
Almost.
Almost. That's right. Yeah. But I haven't been tased, so I don't know from firsthand experience what it's like. But I can surmise that it causes your body to tense up.
So he's giving orders, put your hands behind your back.
Would make it pretty difficult to actually obey these orders.
Taser being activated on your boy's body.
And all he's doing is screaming.
So he's like, and basically like, well, he's not going to be able to follow the orders.
It makes no sense when you're. Why would you give orders when you're like, if you have to deploy a taser, I would think it's because somebody is being combative. You're not able to gain control of this person. Seemed like these two officers had control of this guy.
At that point, they had already cuffed him because
he wasn't fighting.
Because when he said put your hands behind, they were like, yeah, that's it. That was confirmation that he had already put his hand behind his back, and that they had already got the cuffs on, because he said, yeah, that's it. So the audio in the video kind of confirms that his hands were already behind his back. Now, what was being done was what cops always do, is they'll yell out something as if like, stop resisting, stop resisting, stop resisting,
while I punch you
in the face or the head, or they'll be like, put your hands behind your back and stop fighting
while you're being tased,
while they're beating you. So it justifies their force, because it makes it sound as if you are doing something, regardless of what. Even if there's something that contradicts that in the footage.
And what we can see is clearly happening.
Don, and did you see how quickly your boy went into cover his ass mode?
Oh my god!
Because that must have been like one of his supervisor that came, who probably wasn't there.
Yeah.
So
that was somebody else that wasn't there. Yeah.
He has to again justify it to him.
Right.
And like that's how like
he was like, I'm not even lying.
I'm
not even lying about that. I had to beat him in the head. Yeah. And then he said he was going for the taser. He was trying to reach for the taser. Now, we didn't hear anything about that.
Wouldn't even say stop reaching for my taser.
Yeah, he's going for the taser. Get his arm. Nothing about the taser. All you heard were screams. I can't breathe. You telling me at the same time he can't breathe, he was reaching for the taser? While his face was pressed down into the ground and he was being pummeled in the face, he was reaching for the taser?
And again, no word of that during the skirmish.
But
do you see how quickly and like how natural and the reflexive
just minutes later how
reflexive it is to like automatically come up with a story. I don't think you know what, I don't even think it's just to cover his ass with his supervisor. I honestly think it's to kind of like massage his own conscience about what he just did. So it's not even about like, you know, covering his ass with his supervisors. It's about like covering his own consciousness and making himself feel better about what he just did.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna lie about that. I did hit him upside the head, but he tried to grab the taser. That's what he tried to do. Man, get out of here. He tried to grab your damn taser, dog.
So Rush, he was initially charged with assault on a governmental official, resisting arrest, obstructing an officer, trespass, and traffic offenses.
Trespass.
Yes.
This is what they do. This is exactly what they do. They just dump all the charges on regardless. So they use charges that are just trumped up. They use trumped up charges to use as leverage.
Yeah.
They say, well, if you plea to this, if you plea, we'll get rid of this charge that shouldn't be there in the first place.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
But thankfully, one can only surmise that upon seeing the video footage, all charges were dropped on September 18th. And it was dropped by the district attorney's office. This particular officer, the one that was doing all the punching, all the deploying of the taser, he resigned in January. So he is no longer at that police force.
There's no telling. We already know they get rehired. They typically get rehired at some other department.
That's right. This happens all the time. Officer with some kind of,
history of bad decision making,
some police brutality,
history of harassment,
something,
escalating situations.
They leave one department, go right to somebody else, like maybe just a neighboring town or whatever like that. It happens. So. Yeah, we can't be sure that his name won't pop up back in the news at some point. I don't know if Rush is going to be suing or not. I can only imagine that he will be. He should be, definitely. Yeah, that was a ridiculous case of police brutality. And we see this way too often. Jaywalking.
I think that's the thing.
Jaywalking.
It's not the offense. It's kind of like the approach based on the offense. Like the tone they already were talking with before they approached him.
Right.
And it was just
annoyed, Like again, if this particular person is just not getting it, and you want to stick to the rules, you want to stick to the letter of the law, and you want to cite this man for, his breaking the law, jaywalking, then go ahead and do so. That's what he said too. Just go ahead and do it. Just go ahead and do it. Write him the ticket and just let him talk. I don't think he would have continued talking too. All the talk was in response to the officers trying to talk, like this officer trying to get him to look at him. No, man, I don't need to look at you. Just go ahead and write the ticket. I'm gonna stand right here. I don't got nothing to say.
Yeah,
but they kept engaging him
in a way that really it didn't serve any kind of purpose.
It did.
Like just watch him. Just write the ticket.
Just write the ticket. Hand it to him. That's it. That's the end of this incident.
It just seemed like from the jump, they approached it like with the mentality that they were on a power trip. Like from the jump. Oh my God! You told this guy 4 times. He broke the law, and he's a punk. Let's get him.
Again, he's the punk. But this officer, I can't believe he's like, he's a punk, just let him be a punk. But you can't take a curse word. You're an officer of the law, and you can't take a curse word. It wasn't even really being thrown at you. He was just
saying,
fed up with the
he was just
situation.
saying, man, I just don't like being harassed, man. Why y'all harassing me?
I just got off work, man. I'm trying to get home. I can't believe this shit, man. Come on, just let me just get on my way. And you got to feel so hurt, like somebody got to rub that boo boo.
Did he just say we were harassing him?
Now let's harass him for real.
Let's harass him for real.
Man, that's so dumb, man. So dumb, man. I'm glad I'm glad he's off the force, but it's a strong possibility he will, pop up somewhere else. So, anyway, I think that's it. I think that's all we're gonna get to on this program.
It's nearing that time. It's 8:40. Yeah, 8:40:48.
We're gonna
and there was somebody had some breaking news at the beginning.
Yeah. Was it Moose Guy?
I think Moose Guy had some
about
breaking
about
news.
Illinois.
Yeah, about Illinois at the beginning. So if she's still watching.
Yeah, so we put the graphic on the screen now. So if anybody wants to call in, it is 669-900-6833. That is the new number. I did try the old number yesterday, and it did work. But I'm not trusting it. Not trusting it. So we'll just stick with the new number for the time being. So let's get this environment set up so everybody can call if you want to. Jenny Lynn got in here.
Finally.
Late to the program. You just connected?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. All right, just bear with us just for a minute while we set this up. All right. The environment is here. So, yeah, if anybody wants to call, anybody has a question or a comment, yeah, Moose Guy, you can call in now. This is the time.
Well, she all hyped up.
I know, right?
Me. She's like, me.
And I figured, because I was thinking about Illinois, because she was telling us about, the governor race.
Yeah.
And I didn't have time to look at it or, research the candidates or anything. But I figured, we could do that, over the weekend because we do got time. We got that 5-day break. So definitely we can look into some of these races across the country. Moose Guy said, as black men, what do you want America to do about out of control police officers? It's not just out of control police officers. We need, and it's not just black men too. I know it looks like it disproportionately affects us, and it does. By the numbers, it absolutely does disproportionately affect us. But if it affects us, it's going to affect others too. And we see that. We have highlighted cases where the person that was brutalized or killed has been white, has been of another race. So it's not just going to affect us. We need criminal justice reform across the board. We don't just need it for black people. We need it for everybody in this country, because it's not just going to hit us. Mm-hmm. Like when people were talking about drugs, back in the 80s, a lot of people had it was stigmatized, like it was a black problem, right? These lazy black people and in the hood doing drugs and this and that seemed like it was a black problem.
Mm-hmm. So the way that they went about the war on drugs was ignored.
Exactly.
Now all of a sudden, the way they go about the war on drugs,
yes,
guess who it touches?
Exactly.
Everybody.
Exactly. It's going to do that. So it's not something that we can just kind of condense and say we need to look at this problem in this type of way. It's going to affect everybody. We need police reform. We need criminal justice reform across the board.
And maybe I guess I'm looking at it in a broad sense. Oh, we got some people on the line. I'll stop talking for right now so we can get to these calls.
All right.
Bear with us. We got two people.
Yeah, we got two people in the chat.
Let's
get to the
not
first
the chat,
one.
but in the environment. So we got 3 people now. So we're going to try to cut these calls a little closer.
All right. So it's 304. You're on that's the area code. You're on the phone live with LTMB Live. What do you got for us? What's your name and where are you calling from? Area code 304. I don't hear anything. All right, what about area code 385? Huh.
So we can't. That's definitely there's no way that there's 2 people.
Yeah. So all right. So let's see what's going on with this. Okay, hold up. It says join audio. All right. Yeah, maybe that's it. All right, there we go. Hold on. Hold on. Let's go to 304. Okay. All right. Hello.
Area code 304.
She's muted.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay, you can hear me now? Okay, cool.
I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm in West Virginia, and I just wanted to call and say thanks for covering the teacher strike.
Right,
and
okay.
And on top of that, you were talking about the severance taxes on coal and stuff right now. It's only at 5%, and they're talking about cutting it even more. And the really funny thing about that is our governor owns coal mines. He owns, and when he took the office, in his speech, when he got into office, he said he wanted to boost the tourism industry, which he has a hotel and golf resort here. He wants to boost coal, which he owns mines, and he wanted to boost agriculture, which he owns, and timber, which he owns, which means tax cuts all around for himself.
Wow.
And tax cuts for his own back pocket. And the thing is, with the severance tax, it's at 5%. I mean, any less than that, it's just going to be like, why even have it? I mean, we're getting scraps as it is with that. So, yeah, I mean, it's all. I mean, he's Donald Trump light. He really is. And it's the same playbook. It's the same playbook they all have. But yeah, I mean, thanks for covering it, and that was really cool because, yeah, I like the show, and it's always good to see West Virginia in a positive light.
Well, thank you for calling in.
We can't leave, we can't leave certain states untouched. You know what I'm saying, as far as our commentary goes, especially if they're making news, because even though West Virginia is not highly covered, what happens there might affect like how other states too.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
and what's happening in West Virginia is the same thing that's happening all across the country as a nation as a whole.
So it's not just about West Virginia. It's actually a universal or a national conversation.
Right.
And I really hope that people see this and it maybe inspires some other teachers to do this, because I mean, teachers all around just aren't getting what they deserve. I mean, nobody really is. But hopefully these teachers will hold out for some better insurance for the time being, because they've been cutting away at that PEIA for years now. And, I mean, all they're asking for is what they deserve. So good on them.
Okay, well, thank you very much for calling in.
All right, talk to you all later.
Thank you. Have a nice night.
All right, we're going to go to area code 385. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Okay, that's me. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you.
All right. Hey, guys, this is Mary from Utah.
Hey, do us a favor and lower the volume to the stream, though.
Hold on a minute.
Getting some feedback.
Okay, there you go. Can you hear me?
There we go.
Okay,
yeah,
now?
We can hear you.
All right. Okay, I got a doozy for you. Have you guys heard South Africa? It is in South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
The government is going to take away the white-owned farmland for redistribution. And it's a doozy of a conversation.
Yeah, you know,
well,
yeah. I've heard
of
it, but I haven't. Yeah, I've heard of this conversation going on, but I haven't really been paying attention to the details.
Well, the details are of course, the argument is because of the whole European thing taking over the world. But I guess in South Africa, the white people only make up about 10% or more of people, yet they own 70% of the land.
Correct. Right, and the question is, how did they acquire that land?
Yeah,
that's the question.
Exactly, centuries ago, through their ancestors by coming over and taking it away. So
it is a tough. Yeah,
and people keep bringing up Zimbabwe and Rhodesia. I don't know what happened in those countries, but apparently something like that happened there, and now they're broke and suffering for it, supposedly, but I don't know.
Yeah, we're
so
gonna
I thought that would be a good conversation to talk about.
Okay, yeah, we'll look into that and see what's going on. I know China is trying to get heavily into Africa.
They're already there.
Yeah, I know they are. I know they are
heavily in Africa.
But yeah,
it's a conversation because the first thing you look at is, boy, that's racist. You know, so you have two sides of going, no, two wrongs don't make a right. And there's also a very big, apparently these guys have been getting murdered too. So there's some of that going on.
See that again. So, yeah. Okay. We'll address this. We'll get to that. But we'll kind of make our comments on that once we get to these other callers. But yeah, that's a good topic of conversation. We will have, Mary.
All right. Talk to you guys later.
Thank you.
Right, thank you.
Bye.
Okay, we're gonna go to area code 630.
Hello.
Hi, what's your name? Where are you calling
Christina.
from? Hey, Christina.
Christina. I'm from Illinois.
That's right.
And I want to tell you my breaking political news.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Breaking. Go ahead.
Okay.
It's from Twitter. We have a politician in Illinois. His name is Will Gaillard. He's a representative. I think he represents the 39th. And on February 28th of this year, he tweeted out, "Today, Illinois went from thoughts and prayers to action. New license requirements for gun dealers, check. Longer waiting periods for gun purchases, check. Raised the age to 21 for gun purchases, check. Ban bump stocks and trigger cranks, check. Hashtag end gun violence." So then I tweeted out to him, did all these things become law? If so, where can I learn more about the bill? Because I thought this was one comprehensive bill. Apparently not. He says they all passed the House yesterday. Some require action in the Senate. Some have already passed there and are headed to the governor. You can look them up on ilga.gov. Search HB 1465, HB 1467, HB 1468, and Senate Bill 1657. And then other people pointed out that you have to put pressure on the governor to get these bills signed. And then he explained that next week they're going to take up banning assault rifles.
Okay.
And that's what I wanted to say, because I thought it was important in the wake of our gun control laws that if the federal government doesn't act, we always have the state government. So do you guys like these ideas? What do you think?
Oh, no doubt, yeah.
And that's all
we like the ideas.
And that's all I wanted to say.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Christina. We're gonna take a look at that legislation that's I guess might be on the desk of the governor. So yeah, we're gonna look at that.
Yeah, it looks good from the top.
No doubt.
So I think it's a start. And so I'm glad that he put that little caveat in there, going from thoughts and prayers to action. So that was good. So we'll look into that, because we might have to use that as some sort of template,
especially going into next week when the senators might not be talking about it anymore.
Correct. Can I say one other little thing?
Sure.
Okay. In that video you showed, I pointed out this in chat, but I was wondering what you guys thought. Sometimes when white people see videos like that from the police and people are arguing with the cops who aren't white, they don't understand why they argue with the cops. Like, I don't always see where I live white people arguing with cops. They just be quiet. So I can't blame people who don't look like me because of all the incidents that happen with cops in America, especially if you're unarmed and black. But what do you think that guy should have done differently? Like, do you think that he should have just just accepted it and waited until he was going to give him a ticket? Because I wasn't able to stay and listen to all of what you were saying when it was happening. And I was just curious, your perspective.
Okay. I don't know.
I think you did say that, the guy shouldn't have ran.
Yeah, he shouldn't have ran. That's one thing that you should not do at all. But really, everything else that happened, if you're on your way home, you're frustrated, you're tired, you just want to get home, and you feel like cops are harassing you, some people are going to argue. Some people are going to argue, especially if you feel you're being targeted, probably because, of your skin color. So that can lead to feelings of feeling like you're harassed and you want to say something about it. Like, this ain't right. This is not right. So I don't really place blame on him for speaking, especially when the cop was saying, look at me. No, I'm not gonna look at you. I don't need to look at you. Just write the ticket. And
he actually wasn't disagreeing with the ticket. He was just disagreeing with maybe the way he perceived he was being treated. So he wasn't even like, trying to get away from the situation.
Right.
So again, and also I think too many times we question the person who is really not in the position of authority and responsibility and what they could have done.
Right.
I don't care. It's the police are in a position of authority.
Exactly.
Their job is to diffuse situations and make sure situations go, smoother. And it doesn't matter if people are agitated. It's their job to deal with agitated people. That's why they have those jobs.
Yeah, that situation could have went the same exact way with all of the statements going back and forth, the officer walking to the car to get the citation or the ticket, and then that's it. But since that other officer felt disrespected, that's where everything got escalated. So nothing really needed to happen but a ticket. But this officer felt like, he had the authority, the power to, exceed his authority, really. So
now,
go ahead.
Now I agree with everything you said, but one last point. When I see these videos, it breaks my heart because I don't think you should treat people differently if you don't look like me, because I'm obviously white. But I was wondering, do you guys think, because we're having all these incidents with unarmed people, especially them being black, that they're getting harassed and bad things happen to them? Do you think we should not have police forces armed anymore? Like, I personally think all Americans should have very less guns in their home or wherever they keep them. But I'm starting to think that life is more important than these guns. And that's my final thought, and we'll leave it at that.
Okay. Yeah, once we get to the other callers, let's maybe we'll take that up. But thank you for calling in, Christina.
That's fine. Good night.
Thank you. Okay. Good night.
And it's Christina.
And yeah, that was Christina from Illinois. All right, we have area code 714. Hello,
Hi,
are you
guys.
there? Hey, how are you doing?
Yeah,
who's this and where are you calling from? Yeah, we can hear you.
Hey, it's Montauk with James. It's James.
Chance?
Hello. I just want to say, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, good. I came in a little late and I was listening. Just to start off, I go on the news to pick up information because I also have a little gig that I'm doing. I'm just starting. You guys are amazing. You guys have wonderful looking alien mics and stuff. It's fantastic. I think you guys remember it. But the thing is, I go on Google and I ask myself, what does Google or the mainstream media want me to know today? What do they want? What do they want to brand in my brain? What do they want to staple to my mind? Which is what they do. So anytime I hear, and you could go right now, just go to Google News. You'll see the first thing you see is here's what you see. Donald Trump, Vladimir Putin, and Russia. It's just every freaking day, all the time, 24/7, 365. The DNC and Hillary mafia, they just can't let this go. And there's, like I said in the chat, they're dug so deep. They have to go straight through the core of the earth, out China, just to escape this. But I think they're going to burn up halfway through to the core. Yeah, I wasn't saying. See, when I typed that in, I was like kind of being jovial, but I don't know what the emoji is for jovial. Are you guys pushing
you gotta step up your emoji
and
game.
then you gotta let up. I get it. Yes, no. Everybody that I know of, doesn't believe any of this shit. It's just, and disclaimer. Sadly, I have to do the disclaimer. No, I'm not a fucking Trumpist or support Trump, but I'm just sick and tired of the narratives, the talking points, the hyperbole, and just the junk that's being spewed out by Fox, CNN, MSNBC. It's just fucking it's insanity. And the biggest thing is, guys, is I really believe that one day this is all going to blow up in their faces. Okay, I really believe, and we're gonna. You guys could have have your own show. Let the madness begin. Could be like on like cable, because they're going to get rid of all these other fucking shows that are full of shit. Well, I know. Maybe that's a little too much. But by the way, just want to let you. Stevie was on there. Redneck Economics. I don't know if you know her. She also has a show. Okay, but anyway, I'm just saying, this is just nuts, and it's pinning people against themselves, and it's creating a lot of tension, and they want us fighting between each other. And I just wanted to say I'm sorry that I put out the wrong impression in my original live chat typing in there.
Sometimes the chat rooms are not a good place, I guess, to see context because the comments are so short.
Yeah, you can't really measure tone too, so.
And I know people are just hypersensitive to the conversation because sometimes of where it usually goes. So like there's going to be a different reason usually why we talk about a subject. And so I think that's one of the important things to look at. There are certain things the mainstream media will talk about, and they will put a high level of importance on it because they have an agenda and they want to go in a certain direction. It doesn't mean we can't talk about it, but what it does mean is we have to talk about it differently and talk about what it means, like, I guess, in a broader sense. Yeah. Like, that's what I was bringing up about, like, kind of dispelling the narrative towards a certain group of people. That's why it's important for us to talk about it. Like, it's not important to talk about it because we somehow, think that there's some sort of turning over of the table of corruption in regards to Trump. So it's kind of all theater. But whatever is legitimate within this theater needs to be addressed to those people who are still on this kind of two-party carousel. I think that's why it's important, especially when you're talking about corruption. But we do have a couple of other callers, and we do appreciate you calling and clarifying that. And we do what we need to know the name of that show, bro. That's what we need to know, so we can come check it out.
What show? Oh, my show?
Yeah, man.
Oh, Monotalk with James. I would love for you guys to come on. I just started like a few months ago. It's Monotalk with James. Mana, as in mana, like if you're playing like World of Warcraft, you use mana. But since I'm Polynesian, I use mana like mana.
Okay.
You gotta say
it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, man.
Thank you guys. Come by sometime.
Yeah, man. We will, man. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Aloha. Mahalo, guys.
All right. We have 830 that's been waiting for a while.
Hi guys, it's me, Taylor from New Braunfels, Texas.
Man, you snuck up on us, Tay. Man, I didn't even recognize the
yeah, it's hard to get all these
code, man.
The area codes in your head and remember them.
Yeah, I mean, I have to totally agree. It's not just race that's causing police brutality, because I've seen like a video of like this white girl jogger who like got police brutalized by the Austin police just because I think she was like either jogging on the wrong side of the road of the traffic or she was jaywalking. It was one of those, but yeah, and they have it like a YouTube video of it, and it's like it's pretty disgusting. So
yeah,
and
Again,
and then of course, and then I
go ahead, keep going.
yeah. And then, of course, and then I remember one time I watched this video from like Secular Talk by Kyle Kalinske, where like the police, I forgot like what city it was, but they like shot this guy who was deaf, who was like holding something,
right?
And
I
they
remember
thought
that
he
one.
was like, yeah.
So,
I
think we even covered that.
We covered that.
Yeah, I think we covered that one. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, I just totally agree. It's like it's also about like the disabilities. It's also about like just regular people, like even like joggers, that just cause like this police brutality, just because either they're just just jogging on the wrong side of the road, or they're jaywalking, or like or it's just over disabilities, and it's just like and just all this needs to be known about like how police brutality really is.
Yeah, I do agree with that, because I think the conversation actually goes way beyond police. You can't have police brutality without having brutality in general. So it's a societal problem that just shows up more within law enforcement, in all areas of law enforcement, not just police. But it shows up there because they have an extreme amount of power. That's the only reason why it shows up more there, because when you have a combination of a lack of accountability and you have people who can have an extreme amount of power over others, you'll get that. But just for the main part, we have a problem with brutality in general.
And as a people, we need to recognize that it is a problem that affects all of us, but we need to, really understand who it is affecting, disproportionately.
We can do both.
Yeah, and we can do both. Because if you can't empathize with those people that are being hit disproportionately, then we're not really going to get anywhere. We're not really going to get anywhere towards solving this problem and working together to solve that problem.
And I do want to, I don't know if I wish we had some sort of point system, but we don't, as far as giving our viewers. I would give you 5 points for coining the new term, brutalitized. Police said police brutalitized. You get 5 points for that.
Yeah.
I know. Put a TM on that.
I know, right?
Trademark. Well, thank you very much for calling in, Taylor. Always appreciate it.
Yeah, and plus I even have a video of like where the Austin police like arrested these like few protesters protesting against white supremacy. I mean, obviously they were Antifa members, but they were just protesting peacefully. It's on my like YouTube channel, K-Rate 88, where it's like Austin police arrest like protesters against white supremacy. So yeah, it's just really getting out of control. So.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, Taylor. Thank you for calling in again.
All right, well,
we will see you next time.
Bye.
Tay from Texas.
All right, we have one more caller, and that might be it for tonight. I don't know. We got like a time limit here on this Zoom. So we got caller from the 512.
Hey, what's up, guys? Josh from Austin, Texas.
Hey, how you doing, Josh?
What's going on, man? You've called before.
No, I haven't. I've been in.
You haven't?
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about because I don't remember.
We did have somebody call from Austin, Texas before. Maybe I got y'all mixed up.
Oh yeah, it's a big city now. I'm sure you have. Yeah.
All right, what do you got for us?
But yeah, I don't know. I wanted to comment on that, the drug war, and that comment that Trump made. That really hit me. I mean, and I live in Texas, and I'm surrounded by. It's very mixed here. It's in Austin. There's a lot more to the left, but there's a lot of people right that I'm surrounded by who voted for Trump. A lot of my friends, even, people that I grew up with. But that right there, I mean, I'm always making this I have this kind of centrist attitude where, the Democrats and the Republicans are about the same. That right there is just like, I don't know how. That really flipped my view to say the Republicans are just way worse. They're way worse. To say something like that, one of the biggest failures in the history of our country, to come out and say you want to escalate that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think about that? Because I had a friend who voted for Trump who commented on that. I was like, you're totally right about that. Like, he was just like, screw the Republicans when that came out. Because the Texans love their drugs.
They
don't like the government. They don't like the government coming in and telling us what how to policing us from ourselves in a way. You know what I mean?
I don't think it's surprising because again we've seen how he praised President Duterte from, and I'm probably busting that name up, man. I need to hear it. But the president from Philippines, we've seen how he's praised him, and he hasn't said anything like that. But still, by praising him, knowing what he's doing over there, going after these drug dealers, and not just the drug dealers, but the addicts too. He's trying to kill them. He wants them wiped out. He said he compared it to the Holocaust. And Trump is still sitting here.
Crazy.
Yeah, exactly. He's still sitting here praising his efforts, and now saying that in other countries, they have these high penalties, the ultimate penalty. Like, he knows what he's doing. He knows exactly what he sounds like. He knows exactly what he's intimating, and it's. I mean, to say it's objectionable, to say it's reprehensive is. I mean, it's not saying enough. I can't even. I don't know if I can put something on it.
I know. And I think it's
insane to me. It's insane. Like, I think that really caught a lot of Trump supporters off guard when he said, especially here in Texas, because we have a lot of borderline like libertarian / Republicans who voted for Trump because they thought he was an outsider, and I think that really pissed a lot of them off because they don't. Right. I mean, most people do not agree with the drug war. I think that's pretty widespread. I know there's a lot of people that do, but a lot of people know it's a failure. You even have a lot of cops, a lot of people that used to be, there's that famous video of that ex-DEA person talking about it, saying how policing people from themselves is just a failure. You can't do it. It's not the job of law enforcement. And it's so true. Like, it just doesn't work. You can't do that. You can only protect people from other people, not from themselves. It never works out. And they destroy people's lives.
Good point.
My father was arrested for selling weed. He sat in a holding cell for 8 years without a trial because of the war on drugs.
That was you in the chat. I remember you commenting that in the chat on Tuesday. Okay, yeah.
That's right. Gosh. Yeah. Oh, you read that? Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, he sat in a holding cell for 8 years, and people don't realize how. They talk about your rights and all this stuff. Well, the war on drugs has destroyed people's rights who are drug dealers. They'll destroy your life. You get no rights whatsoever. He had multiple properties. Some he did get probably from selling weed or whatever. All he was selling was, it was a lot. And he was driving he got arrested for conspiracy to distribute, I think, 10 tons. So it wasn't like a small charge, but anyway, they took everything. They took all his houses, his property, all his cars, left him with nothing. But the real crime is that he just sat in this holding cell, and once they got everything from him, the judge is just like, okay, time served, you're free to go. But
destroyed his life.
That's all they care about is getting money.
Getting the stuff.
It's a big money-making thing. Yeah, they want to get all the money out of it. So, but yeah, that whole thing is just crazy to me. I don't, for him to come out and say that surprised even me. I didn't know he was that crazy, but apparently he is. Maybe I'm just naive.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's all I really had.
Well, thank you very much, Josh, for calling in. Yeah.
I
hope you call in again.
Right, it's good to hear a voice too. That links up to that comment I read.
Right. All right, man. You have a good weekend.
Yeah. You too, man. Later.
All right. We have another caller, and we hope it's not cut off because I think we're reaching that limit. But we're going to try to take this caller's 419 area code. Hello?
I'm calling to express my thoughts on the NRA making claims that video games make you violent instead of the reason why a lot of people are getting killed is because the availability of the assault rifles.
Okay.
All right. Is that the...
Yeah, I think it's really dumb that the NRA says that the guns is not the reason why people are getting shot by maniacs, but it's because of influence from violent video games, violent movies, and pornography, which is, I just wanted to say that the NRA has proven themselves to be dumber than they were. I don't know how it's possible, but they're just plain retarded. I think we should boycott the NRA. All right, because they've proven to, huh?
Yeah, well, I was
sorry.
just gonna say that you, well, I mean, you're definitely not holding your punches.
Oh no, man, you're not holding back at all, man.
No, hey, I mean, I think people are waking up to that. I mean, I think some. It did seem like I think as a nation, we are somewhat in a different, environment with this latest mass shooting. As a nation of regular people, we are having this conversation amongst ourselves, and a lot of us do want something done. Now, our politicians, of course, are still being, I guess, controlled by the NRA to some degree, to a large degree. So it seems like they don't really want to do anything. It's fortunate that there are several companies that are cutting their ties to the NRA. But there are many more corporations out there that might, take those spots. So are we really getting somewhere as a country? Is this really going to be the time where we can actually do something? It's way too soon to tell. I am encouraged by these kids that are telling their stories, and they seem like they are not giving up. So I don't know, man. Like, I agree with you about the NRA. They're poison.
Yeah, they serve as a massive roadblock to get anything, basic done. So
that's right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what pornography has to do with, violence happening in the real world.
It's just something that they, I think Mike had said it when we talked about that. It's about religion. If they can impart their religion on America, if they can actually establish that we live in a theocracy without having to actually officially say we live in a theocracy, then they're doing exactly what they want to do. That's why they want to put God in school, and they want to put the 10 Commandments or In God We Trust in schools. They think these are measures that will actually sway people or deter people from not committing crimes. And I mean, people that go to church commit crimes all the time. I mean, they're human just like everybody else. So,
and then will it deter people who don't even care about those commandments?
Exactly. It's a ridiculous proposition. And the porn angle is, I mean, it's just stupid. It's just stupid.
Yeah. And they know that they're losing the battle on the subject of guns and violence. And they have to accept that it's over, and we're rebelling against their tyranny, and that's just all I want to say.
Well, thank you for saying it.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for calling in.
Okay. Bye. I love your show. Let the madness begin. I hope you. I hope your channel will still be on. Okay. Bye. I'm
All
sorry.
right, thank you
This is the first time I'm calling.
Oh, no problem, man. We enjoyed you calling in. We hope you do it again.
Okay.
You did
bye.
a great job, man. All right, have a good weekend.
Well, I think it's that last thing he said, something about they know it's a losing battle.
Man, that was a great point.
They're losing the battle.
That was a great point.
And again, that actually, the first thing I said when we started the show was that's why they're making or attempting to kind of distract people with these nonsensical, illogical, supposed fixes because they know it's a losing battle. Or, entering any kind of discussion about guns with solutions like the 10 Commandments, or it's about porn, or it's about movies,
man.
or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's because when you're illogical, profusely illogical, you
got to do something like that. And this is, you're losing. You can compare this. You can compare this to like Sarah Huckabee Sanders constantly defending Donald Trump, right? You know it's a difficult job because like at some point, I mean, like
it's a losing battle.
Exactly, it's a losing battle. So she has to be like, okay, how can I defend him today? Oh, okay, let me just think about something.
And it never makes sense.
It never makes sense. Again, that's why we always have to talk about it. Like, you just made yourself look like an idiot.
So so it's a losing battle. So none of their arguments are going to make sense.
Porn, in God we trust.
So it shows that, you know, the needle is moving.
Yeah, it is.
When you have to make dumb arguments,
right?
When you make nonsensical arguments,
right?
And you deflect to other things, then that illustrates that you're losing the argument or losing the battle.
It just, you know what, we just have to be very diligent about framing the argument exactly the way that it needs to be framed, in a very logical, reasonable way. Because again, most of us as a country support background checks. Now, you know what? This is the point that I was going to make earlier that I forgot about, right? I just remembered it, right? Okay. Now, I know people say, these gun enthusiasts, you know, these ammosexuals, right? I know they say, hey, you know, you enact all this gun legislation. That still wouldn't, you know, change what happened in Parkland, or in this case. And so background checks by themselves definitely won't change a lot of situations, because like the shooter in Paddock in Las Vegas, he attained those weapons legally, right? Okay, he passed the background check. All right, this guy in Parkland, he passed the background check. Now, if the minimum age was raised to 21, then okay, that's a obstacle that he wouldn't have been able to overcome. But just background checks won't solve mass shooting problems. But we're not just trying to solve mass shooting problems. We're trying to solve gun violence all across the United States of America. So we know that criminals can get their hands on guns by bypassing background checks. We should do something about that. This is not just like we gotta attack this problem in this way. No, there's so many different avenues that leads to gun violence in the United States of America. One of these ways is the gigantic loophole that says that people can bypass background checks. If you are for some background checks, then it makes no sense for you to be against all background checks. They are there for a purpose, and you obviously understand that purpose because you are supportive of them. So if you understand the purpose of the background check, then you would have to understand that a background check needs to be completed before any gun sale. But they don't want to say that. I would love for somebody to actually attack them that way, actually pose it to them that way, but I don't hear people saying that. Why then? Exactly, like they,
maybe because the controlled opposition doesn't want to, because obviously that's kind of the easiest. This seems like a kind of an easy rebuttal to make.
It does. Like how could at CPAC just recently, when Wayne LaPierre was there and Dana Lesh was there and all these other conservatives talking about gun control and saying that no, we don't support expanded background checks. We just need to put the laws in place. We need to make the laws in place work how they're supposed to. No, we need added protection as well. We don't have universal background checks. It just does. There's no logic. It's not 1 + 1 = 2. If you are supportive of background checks, which the NRA says they are, then they would have to logically be for all background checks. The whole point of them not being for that is completely bullshit, man. They are just manipulating people, and people are believing it without using any kind of logic whatsoever. Also that nothing can be done on guns. Also that they can harden schools. Like, anyway, like I said, seems like the nation is moving the needle, even though our politicians aren't. So as a nation, if we move the needle, that possibly gets us to a place where we can actually come together on issues, which is what we talk about all the time. Forget parties, forget politicians, come together on issues and enact change that way. If we can come together like that, then there is no holding us back. It doesn't matter how much money the NRA dishes out to these politicians. Doesn't matter. As a unit, we're strong. So
before we go, because it's probably it's around that time we can, I think we need to address that South Africa question.
Yeah, okay, go on.
From Mary, was it from Utah?
I believe
she brought it up, and I'm not sure, she wasn't stating an opinion, but about how some people are seeing it as racist that some of the white farmers are being taken away. But I don't think that's the kind of the proper description of it, because they're not being taken away because they're, I guess, being seen as a lesser group of people. They're not being taken away because they're white. They're being taken away because of historical malpractice. Now, people may disagree with that, but I'll ask, what is the answer? If I was able to climb up on a ledge using the back of someone else, right? I got up there, right? Now, if like it, so how does that person that I climbed on get up to where I'm at? How does that happen? Or where's the recompense?
Right.
Like, where is the repair? Which that's where the word reparations come from. If for centuries upon centuries, a certain group of people were disenfranchised, things were stolen from them. In this case, it's land, and that land was then occupied by somebody else over a long period of time. As the ancestors of those people who stole that land, what is the repair? Where's the repair? That's my question. And for so long, they didn't take it upon themselves to do anything. So what do you expect? My thing is, no matter what's going on, even if there's some white farmers being slaughtered and murdered, we already know what that's a consequence of. I'm not there. I'm not in South Africa. My family, my immediate family, or my recent family, my ancestors weren't there in South Africa. So I don't know how those Aboriginal or Native South Africans feel. They probably have a lot of pent up anger harbored towards I guess the descendants of those who stole their land. So I can't begin to know how they feel. So the slaughter of white farmers and white families, that's something that is a logical consequence of years of the murder and slaughter of their family. That's a logical consequence. That's why you don't fuck with people. So it's like there's going to be a period of time where that's essentially just going to happen, because that's just the consequence of that. And like I said, I don't know what the solution is. I think if you steal something, I think there's no statute of limitations on that. I'm sorry. And how does a thief negotiate how much they're going to return? And that's my question. Do thieves negotiate how much they're going to return? If you benefited, it's kind of like Josh from Austin, right? And how they prosecute people who are involved in distribution of drugs. They take away all that person's property, do they not? Did they not? That's how they do that. You were involved in illegal activity. Anything that benefited you from that illegal activity gets taken away regardless. And it doesn't matter that that was his father. They don't say, oh, he has kids, let's look after him. They took away all of it. So if we're looking at it the same way in regards to something much bigger, land being taken away, I honestly, I don't really have a lot of sympathy for the descendants of people who stole, and whether they should keep land that their ancestors stole. And if they weren't willing to get on the front end of the solution, then that's on them. That's on them. It didn't have to go down like this. All I'm saying is, like, I put the question out there: what is the solution? Do the descendants of people who stole land get to keep the land? Is that fair? That's my only question. That's the question.
I'll address the other question that that was asked of us before we were able to answer. We had to take some calls about unarmed police. I can't remember who asked that. That might have been Mary too. I'm not sure. Or Christina, I mean. I can't remember. But anyway, we were asked about how do we feel about unarming the police. I've seen that before. I've seen people talk about that, unarming the police. Like, we should start with unarming the police because they, you know, they can be viewed as an oppressive force. You know, they go against. I mean, not go. They exceed their authority. They kill unarmed people. They kill people where there's no danger. You know, we should unarm the police. I don't believe that's a good idea. At least not right now. Not in this country. Because not in 2018, not right now. If we start with unarming the police, you have to understand that the people still have how many millions of guns in the country. There are criminals here. There are people with guns here. If you unarm the police, I think there's going to be many police officers that are killed. Many police officers that are killed. They're not going to have a way to defend themselves. Unless you're saying that, no, that's still going to be a dangerous situation. That's still going to be the same dangerous situation if you know that a police officer is not carrying when you have this altercation with the police officer. They're going to be prime picking. Now, can they go get their guns? Just like in England, usually these beat cops, they don't carry weapons around. They wait until like there's actually a situation. They know there's a situation. Okay, they're alerted to go get their guns. But just walking around, just driving around, patrolling, they don't really carry their weapons. Are we there as a country right now to where we can actually unarm the police? I don't think we're there.
No, I don't think so either.
But we're not there.
I'm with you on that one. I don't think we're there yet. Because like I said, it connects to the whole brutality situation, and we have a problem with brutality, not just a problem with police brutality.
That's true.
So we can't just disarm them and act like that's going to solve the problem.
Yeah, and if you disarm the police officers too, you would have to disarm all of America.
Exactly.
That would be the logical consequence. Like, I mean, there's no, like, in no world is me and my man right here against law enforcement. Like, as a general, like, just
occupation,
to paint that broad
as a
brush.
general occupation.
No, we're not against law enforcement. We're against some of these, we're against these bad cops that exceed their authority and brutalize civilians when there's no apparent need to do so. So we're against them. We're against the abuses that we see on a regular basis. But we understand that there is a need for law enforcement in the country. Not every human is going to be on their best behavior. Like, there are some humans that are going to want to hurt other people. We need law enforcement. So that, I mean, it's a tough job. We need law enforcement there to protect other people, like to protect and serve. I mean, it's an actual thing that we need them for. We just need them to be held accountable when they don't do that, when they exceed their authority. So, yeah, I mean, we're not going to say, like, F the police. I know people say that. We're not going to say that. F bad policing. That's what I'd say. Let's root that out. Let's actually get criminal justice reform. But in 2018, we are definitely not in a situation where we can disarm the police officers. Nah, can't do that. So, that's our take, man. We're gonna get out of here, man.
Yeah, we're gonna head over to the book.
Yeah, 9:40. I'm very thankful. I know both of us are thankful for the many calls that we get. Seems like this is
today was we had
last time too on Tuesday we had a lot of callers, so it seemed like this might be a regular thing.
Yeah, I know. I don't think we ever had 4 or 5 people waiting at the same time.
Yeah, no, we haven't had that.
We never.
So
had
that was a very welcome circumstance. I mean, I like that situation.
That means we got more voices on more people voicing I guess issues or concerns they may feel like they want to highlight.
That's right.
And like I said, things that we may not be talking about. That's cool.
Yeah, bringing up Africa, bringing up the Illinois politics, just different things. We like to hear your voices. That's the whole reason why we got this, call-in feature. So we thank you for your activity in the chat, and we thank everybody that called into us. We had a few contributions tonight as well from Jim, Jeremiah, and Redneck Economics. Thank you very, very much for your contributions to the show.
Didn't James say that Redneck Economics had a show? I know he said he had a show, but
yeah,
I
he said he had a show. Monotalk
James. Monotalk with James.
Yeah, Monotalk with James. Did he say that?
I thought he said that. I
thought
thought he said that.
Is she still in the?
I know. Is she still in? Or yeah.
Also, we did find out too. Maybe you already know this. Maybe I'm sure a lot of you watch other live streams as well. But this is news to us that when the stream completes, when this video completes, the comments are going to stay with the video now. So they're going to be displayed just like Facebook when you watch a live video, over again. Like when you replay a live video, you see the comments, start to display in real time as they were, as you were entered into your comments. That's going to be the same case with YouTube now. So that's a good thing, because I hate when, we put these videos out and there's only like 3 comments, because it's people that are replaying the video, but all these comments are just lost. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, no, that's the element of the show that kind of it gives it its tone, its spice. It kind of gives it a flavor.
Exactly.
So it's not just us talking. It's kind of, even when we're not even responding to the comments, it's still relevant. Because it is, you could see kind of what's going on in the chat, what they have their mind on.
Right.
And so I think people who are viewing the show for the first time, if they're checking out the live stream, I guess the processed one, not the live, like watching it live. If they're watching the processed one that's already been completed, I think seeing the comments might be kind of refreshing for them. You know what I'm saying? Especially if they're new to the channel, if they don't get to see the live show.
Yeah, because look, man, our chat, man, they're active. And like I said, we thank you for that immensely, man, because you provide so much to the show. And when we're able to, actually read some of these comments and actually respond to them, like I said, that's
one of the things that my pet peeves about, the live show format, or YouTube's live show format, was that like the comments went away. I was like, man, why can't the comments stay?
Right. But that's right, Jenny Lynn, best chat ever. I think Mary Hill said that maybe Redden Economics is political vigilante. Maybe she had an interview with Graham Elwood, political vigilante. Okay. Yeah, Gene is right. See, yeah, we'll need a moderator. Yeah. See, and that, that's not a bad idea. I mean, we don't got the space for it, one. And we definitely don't have the budget for it too. Not as of yet.
I think it's like you can assign.
Oh, you're talking about in the stream.
You can assign people within the stream.
Okay.
That's right. Moderator.
I'm thinking
credentials.
I'm thinking further into the future.
Yeah, you're talking about some
we need like a live moderated rider. Well, once we get more people into the audience as well, so that we can moderate the calls as well. Have it be more of like a streamless process, because we do need to take some hands off of some of the responsibilities that we have, but there'll be a time and a place for that. Shout out to all of our patrons on patreon.com/LTMB. Thank you very much, as always. I hope this weekend you're gonna be able to go see
No.
You ain't gonna see it?
If I see it, it's going to be early. It's going to be early in the day
tomorrow.
Tomorrow. If I see it, it's not going to be at night, dog.
Yeah, hell no. I ain't going to. I went. No, I told him I went Sunday morning. It was 11:30 in the morning, because man, it was jam packed. Tried to order online, thought it won't be a problem. Everything was booked up Saturday and Saturday night. So I had to go Sunday afternoon. But yeah, it was a good movie. If you in the chat have not seen it yet, Black Panther, very highly recommendable. Very good, very good. Like I said, I want to see it again, because like I said, it was different. It was a little bit different than your regular superhero movie. A little deeper.
Yeah. I mean, if obviously it's going to contain the similar elements to other. Right. I noticed like I've read a little bit of kind of the reviews without the spoilers, and it has similar elements of other superhero movies. So that's why it's a universal flick. But like you said, it has elements that were not typical.
No, not at all, man. And again, man, shout out to Michael B. Jordan, man. Straight up. that performance, man, was, man, he did his thing. He really did do his thing. Yeah, anyway. All right, so we're going to get out of here. We hope everybody has a very good weekend. And we will be back Tuesday, 9 p.m. Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you do have a few minutes, you can check us out on Facebook. In about 5 minutes, we'll be on, where we do have a couple of other things, light subjects, you know, sure to produce some laughter. So if you have a minute, you know, you can come check us out, and we'll see you there. Other than that, we
bid you a farewell.
Again.
Yeah.
Peace out.
See you on Facebook.
My man Mike. I'm Will.
We out. We'll see y'all next week.